Welcome to Evergreen Speedway's Home Track Heroes on CW11.
Welcome into Home Track Heroes here on CW11. My name is Kyler O, but that is Caleb Hart joining me in the booth today, and we've got a packed show tonight for you guys at home.
We finally got a little weather to cooperate with us here at Evergreen Speedway. So tonight we're going to show you a variety of stuff like we normally do, including, finally, laps in the Pro Late Model Division. It took a little while, but we're going to get there. We're going to get a whole main event in tonight, I feel it.
Yeah, it's been almost, 3 months since they got their entire main event in, because they got 7 laps here, and then qualified, and then it rained, and then it's just been unlucky for Pro Late Models. So finally, hopefully, it's looking good so far. We're going to try to get their main event in, move it forward if we have to. But first, we're going to start out with one of the best classes here at Evergreen Speedway, the Superstock Figure Eights, and I think it's the biggest field of Superstock Figure Eights we've had all year long. A
big field, a good field as well, as we've got some returning names that we haven't seen run in a hot minute or two, and should be a fun afternoon of Superstock Figure 8 racing come main event time here. Took a look at this roster and we went, okay, cool, this has got the makings of being one killer race, and storylines all coming through, and heck, let's meet the drivers and get to that exact Superstock Figure 8 main event.
Yeah, and one of the big storylines is Quentin Borison's car has been sold. This is his last race in that blue number 17, hoping to see him in another car after this race to continue on his championship run, because he is currently leading the points, and it's going to be a shame for all that just to come to an end midway through the year. But yeah, let's get to know the entire starting lineup. Up on the front row, we got the 69 of RJ Mackey, sponsored by Painted Raven Farms, and his outside, that's the 63 of Robert Weldon, sponsored by All Ply Roofing LLC.
The second row is Jim Powers in the 007, Pilchuck Heating his sponsor, Aaron Flett next to him in car 13.
Then we got the JE55, that spells Jessica Wilkinson, also sponsored by Pilchuck Heating, is on the inside of row number 3, and her outside, that's the 01 of Doug Delfell.
Chuck Wittes is in car number 58. He is in row number 4. Next to him, the 66 of Rick Jones.
Then we got the 36 of Bill Flyshacker, sponsored by Sound Stump Removal, and his outside, the 72 Doug Wilkinson, filling in for Jeff Talbert. They're sponsored by Pilchuck Heating.
Filling in for Mackenzie Dietz, it's the 67 of Keith Cook tonight, the BECU car. Next to him, Jim Mackey in the 11, Masters of Crete. Then Quentin Borison, that aforementioned 17, Mrs. Turnan's Hometown Cafe of Puyallup. And Mike Stelt's back with us in the Metro Construction 67S as we're underway.
Yeah, green flag is out. Like I said, a huge field of Superstock Figure Eights on a sunny day here at Evergreen Speedway at the most dangerous intersection on the planet. And up front, looks like it's going to be Robert Weldon going to hang on to lead lap number 1. And here comes Aaron Flett in that 13 machine. He's going to get to the outside and then to the inside going to the South Pole, and he's going to take over the lead in that 13 machine. And last year we saw Dawson Cox in and out of this car every now and then, and we know it's fast, and Aaron Flett's taking it to the front and hoping to check out, but he's got Doug Delfell filling up his rearview mirror.
Yeah, as quickly as Flett took off, Delfell followed him, and Delfell looking awfully fast and reeling him in early. Now this is a long race, 28 laps to go, and with a bigger field of Superstock Figure 8s, that also means that the intersection gets hairier earlier and stays that way longer as the field spreads out. As we've got one around, that is Powers on the inside of the South Pole.
Yeah, and we'll see if he's able to get fired back up. Yep, he does, gets moving, so we're going to stay green, and just like that, we got a car that's going to be toying with the intersection through the pack. But up front, we still got a great battle between Doug Delfell and Aaron Flett. All sorts of pressure, and like you mentioned, the really big field, Quentin Borison's way at the back, and he's got to drive his way through that field. And so far, we're saying a 4 laps green flag racing, and he's still pretty far buried back in the pack, so Quentin Borison's got a big task ahead of him.
Your quicker qualifiers, your faster cars got to be praying for a little bit of chaos that causes a yellow flag that stuffs the field up in and behind itself and gives them a chance to come on forward with those double file restarts as well. But right now, watching Flett in the red 13 lead Delfell in the yellow 01, and already intersection is starting to look like it's going to be a problem.
Exactly, yeah, and that's a lap car, the 007 of Jim Powers went around. So Chuck Wittes, actually, in his return to Superstock Figure 8 action, sits in 3rd place as of right now. But like you mentioned, the intersection's really starting to heat up for Aaron Flett in the tail end of the field, trying to see who that was. It looks like maybe the 11 of Mackey and then the 63 of Weldon as well, already going shooting some gaps to the intersection. So this is definitely an exciting race, and I mean, if you love Figure 8 action, come out next time Superstock Figure 8s are on the schedule, because they put on a great show every single time. And looks like we got RJ Mackey in the 69 coming to a stop towards the intersection, waiting for the gap to open up. So it's going to be mixing up hot and heavy really quick here.
Yeah, both Flett and Delfell are going to have their hands full, not only racing with each other, but trying to navigate through the slower cars that are working in and around the intersection. Delfell going to have to deal with that yellow 63 there who is lagging just a little bit further behind the field. It seems like Weldon falling off the pace and is actually catching up to the back of those leaders as is. So we'll watch that. We'll see what happens.
Exactly, yeah. It's the other red car. That's the 11 of Jim Mackey that flashes in front of your race leaders right here. So that's going to be the first car that's really starting to choke up the intersection for your race leaders. Aaron Flett having to deal with that. There goes Weldon through the intersection, but right in front of Chuck Wittes. And then here comes the tail end of that big pack. Just squeaking by is the 11 of Jim Mackey. And when you're the race leader with someone hounding your back, it's really hard to lift up. And wow, Weldon really finding a gap right there.
Yeah, this is going to get scary in a hurry. So not only the lead cars having to cut through, but now slower cars having to cut through the mid-pack cars as well at the same time. It's a recipe for chaos as we got somebody putting on a smoke show in the North Pole.
Looks like Flyshacker is the one that went around there as both the race leaders are slipping through some of the heavy lap traffic in the intersection. So we're going to see what happens right here. And there's your race leader hitting Mike Stelz as they go 3 wide through the intersection, almost 4 wide for a second. We're going to continue on and stay green as looks like some heavy right side damage on the 13 of Flay. He's going to try to hang on and hump back down the 01 of Delfell. And
car doesn't turn.
Yeah, there's something wrong on the 13. He's going to pull into the pits, and I think Stelz stayed out there too for now as well. So the 67 of Mike Stelz on the other end of that intersection action is there. You see him right there at the bottom of your screen, and he's going to pull. Yeah, he's going to pull to the pits also. So let's take a look at that. We're going to stay green, and we'll go back to a split screen replay real quick. Bottom right hand is your replay. Top left hand is the live action, and both cars on their brakes. You can see the skid marks. All 4 tires locking up, and just unfortunate for your race leader. I think the 007 of Jim Powers almost blocked Mike Stelz's view like we've talked about in the past, and just choked everything up.
Honestly, if one of them had just accelerated at that point in time, it was just the perfect combination of 2 guys on the brakes where if one of them had gassed it up, they could have made it and both would still be running. And benefit to Doug Delfell as Delfell has now got the lead, and Delfell has a little ways back to his nearest competitor, so Delfell can afford to manage this race a little bit and start working the intersection to his desire.
Yeah, we were just on board right there with Keith Cook, and you could barely see Doug Delfell get through that intersection interaction as well, as I think Jim Powers was right there. I think the Tower machine wielded by Doug Wilkinson was right in that mix as well. So it was really fortunate for Doug Delfell to squeak through that and hang on to the race lead. Surprised there weren't more cars involved, but hey, we'll roll with it as Chuck Wittes now is your new second place, and Jessica Wilkinson trying to hold off Doug Wilkinson and Quentin Borson, as that is your entire top 5 all battling really hard. There's your top 4 on screen as Chuck Wittes having to check up for some intersection action as well.
All right, so Wilkinson swung high trying to get around Jess. Doug version going around Jess version of the Wilkinsons. Yeehaw. Both of them trying to chase down Wittes, and everybody after your leader is now the pack starting to form up quite nicely here, as you're going to see some racing action amongst your top 5, and in for the lead as Delfell's lead has been erased very, very quickly.
Exactly, yeah. He had Robert Weldon and Bill Flyshacker both in front of him with some intersection action as well, and that really erased his lead. I mean, he's playing it safe, doing what he had to do, but ultimately lost a huge portion of that lead, as I think we lost Jessica Wilkinson somewhere. She was right in that mix, and now she's fallen back in that J55. She's off track actually up on the 5/8 right there, so tough break, run inside the top 3 and something going awry on that 55 JE car. So Jessica Wilkinson pulling off. Now it's a top 4 battle, as I think we just lost Chuck Wittes now. He spun out in the intersection too.
Oh, Chuck, bad timing, buddy. So that puts Borison now up to second. And what do you know, at the end of the race, Borison ends up getting there no matter how it ends up playing out. He's just one of those cagey veterans like that, knows how to navigate a race, and here he is 3 car lengths back of Doug Delfell as we come to 10 to go this time by.
Yeah, 14 cars, and he's still able to make his way through and squeak on up to the front in 20 laps too. It was all 20 green flag action, and he's able to get right up there and now put some real pressure on the back of the Grizz Doug Delfell in the 01, as right there also Doug Wilkinson in an unfamiliar car from you're used to seeing him here in the Superstock figure or in the Outlaw figure 8s. Quentin Borson got a run to the inside of Delfell, a little bit of contact between the two. That's going to allow Wilkinson to get right on the back bumper, and it's a great 3-car battle with just 9.5 laps remaining.
I think you can see how much better Borison's car was there as he quickly got to your leader, passed him, and cleared him. So Borison in what could be the final race for him. We'll see how it ends up shaking out, but ends up having the lead under 10 to go, and he brought Wilkinson with him. So Wilkinson into second, and trying not to let Quentin get too far out. You know, as hairy as this intersection has been, anything can happen.
Exactly, yeah, and some lap cars right in front. Bill Flyshacker in 36, who we saw go around around earlier in the North Pole with just 7 laps remaining now. So, I mean, we've seen lap traffic. We've seen all sorts of different things come into play for the race leaders. So you never know until it's actually over here at the most dangerous intersection on the planet, as Quinn Borson really closing up on the back of Fleischacker, and Doug Wilkinson, I think, is closing that gap as well. Definitely not letting the 17 get out of his sights.
Yeah, Fleischacker is holding Borson up a bit. That is Wilkinson closing. He's to within a car length through the South Pole. We're coming into 5 to go. Can Wilkinson do anything and spoil the party for Borson here, as there's just 5 more trips to go, this time by that white stripe coming off the North Pole, which is our start-finish line.
Yeah, we got Weldon and Mike Stelz right in front of Fleischacker when they go across the intersection, so they're going to be checking up here momentarily. Yep, and there goes Weldon by, and everyone had to check up. That's going to put Wilkinson right on the back bumper of Borson. So it's still anyone's race, and you're in the top 2 with Doug Delfeld just licking his chops right there, sitting in 3rd.
Fleischacker is just fast enough to make Borson have to wait for a mistake or drive around him, and Quinton hasn't pulled out a line yet to take a shot at him. So it's Fleischacker, the guy holding the line, and here comes Wilkinson. Wilkinson shoots to the outside of Borson, saying, all right, if you're not going to try it, I will. Steps out of line now. If he can pin him, he's got a shot.
Oh, huge hit right there. That is your 3rd place, Doug Delfeld and Robert Weldon getting together. Red flag comes out immediately, as that is definitely one of the toughest hits I've ever seen, the most dangerous intersection on the planet here at Evergreen Speedway. The NASCAR officials right there in a hurry, checking on both drivers.
Man, he got absolutely smashed like the potatoes at Thanksgiving. That's nutso. Let's take a look at the replay.
Not a good day to be a yellow car. We'll keep an eye on Doug Delfeld right there in the 0-1 as he's approaching the intersection. And, yeah, just a tough hit right there. I don't know if he thought maybe Weldon was going to hold up for him as he's trying to stay in touch with your top 2 as they're battling side by side. As it's just a tough hit right there.
Oh, and you saw, and you can kind of see it in that replay there. It looked like Weldon was off the gas, then got on the gas and almost course corrected coming in through the intersection. And man, oh man, what a shot for Delfeld. That looks like it hurt. We're going to get oh, wow.
Yeah, that's coming in hot right there on the back of Bill Fleischacker. That was a really good battle for the race lead. And right now we see that's Doug Wilkinson going over the pit area. So we're getting word from the NASCAR officials that he was moving underneath that red flag, and he was sent to the pits. He was given the black flag for that, and he's sent to the pits. It looks like he's just going to pull it in. So problems over right on the 72. Tough break there for Doug Wilkinson. I mean, red flag was out and he continued to move, and NASCAR officials didn't like that.
No, I mean, red flag means stop. And in every form of motorsports, you've got to get permission from the officials to keep on. So that really throws a haymaker towards your top group. Borson kind of gets out of big trouble as Wilkinson was up there looking to make a pass for the lead when that massive intersection hit happens. That'll move Keith Cook in the 67 up into position 2 and Jim Mackey in 3rd in the red 11.
Yeah, and we're down to, I think, barely over maybe 5 cars left.
There were 14 that started this. Whoa.
So it's been definitely a war race here at Evergreen Speedway, as we have 4-lap shootout here. Quinn Borson, Keith Cook, Jim Mackey, and with the Delaware file restart, Quinn Borson's going to be able to check out here as they're still side by side for second. Mackey put on a really good battle between Keith Cook, but Keith Cook in that 67 machine's going to be able to take over second place and now try hunting down Quinn Borson with just 3 laps to go.
This almost feels academic at this point in time for Borson, although Cook, he's won races in Superstock Figure 8 action before. Now, granted, slightly unfamiliar car to him. So I was reading the story on race day. It was Cook who helped Mackenzie find an engine for that car, and that's the reason why she's out of the seat this week. Kind of a big thank you to Keith as he's in her, and right now bringing home a really decent-looking second.
Exactly, yeah. Quinn Borson, like we mentioned before, the car has been sold. They've been trying to sell it for a few years now. Finally found someone to buy it, which, I mean, we've seen this thing on the podium, I think, almost every single race that they've entered in the last 2.5 years. And tonight looks like it's going to be no different for Quinn Borson in his final race in the blue number 17. Just a lap and a half to go for the one-arm bandit coming around the intersection one more time as Mike Stelz rejoins the field in the 67 car coming around to the North Pole, and white flag should be in the air from John Peterson.
Take the money from the sale and build a new 17. Come on, guys. It'll be fun. It'll be sad if we don't have a Quinton Borson out here competing at a very, very high level. Is through the South Pole and through the intersection to the North Pole, and the checkered flag, your winner in what we hope is not the final appearance for Quinton Borson.
Yep, and Keith Cook in the borrowed car filling in for Mackenzie Dietz will come home second place. Jim Mackey coming home third from way back in the pack as well. So great run there as it was a crazy Superstock figure eight race. We had 14 of them, 2 pretty decent intersection hits. Only one of them brought out the caution. And Quinn Borson looks like he's going to drive through the pits and make his way up onto the front midway for his celebration. So obviously means a lot to him. We'll take a look at the 17 car up close and personal. As
very cool.
Keith Cook goes and parks it up there. And yep, here comes Quinn Borson all the way up. How cool is that?
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, hopefully it's not, again, a final send-off for him, but it's a heck of a celebration as we'll go down to the Angel of the Winds winners podium, man, Greg.
All right, Quentin. So we're up there talking with Tom tonight. He tells us you were on a podcast on Wednesday, and he said right after the podcast was over, you learned that the car was sold. Tell us a little bit about that.
Me and Dave Brandenburg, we did that podcast, and I hope everybody gets a chance to listen to it. It's really a pretty cool podcast. And thanks to Tom Glithrow and, Steve Mortland for doing it and everything, and all you fans for coming out here. This is my last night ever driving this car. I wanted to do something a little bit different, a little bit special, bring it up here, let people come up and get a good look at it and stuff, and see what I've been able to be honored to drive for the last 9 years.
Tell us a little bit about how special it was. We saw you starting in the back of the pack. We were obviously watching you the whole time as soon as Tom told us about what happened with the car being sold, but watching you move through that pack and then winning the last night you driving this car, tell us what that means to you.
It means the world, and I just wanted to make sure that that I give myself every opportunity to be able to have this chance to get it up here. I was, excuse my French, hell-bent to make sure it got here.
Thank you. All right, so I'm going to ask you this because I always give the drivers the opportunity, but this is the last time you drive in this car. You still have some sponsors you want to shout out for the 17?
Yeah, the Olympia Pizza House, Mrs. Turner's Hometown Cafe, Butch Aldrich, Monroe Motel, Kelly's Auto Repair, really good friend of mine down in Auburn. And if you want a pizza, go see Nick up there at the Olympia Pizza House. Hi, Dale. This may not be it. This may be the last run for this, but there's a little bit of talks about me driving something else.
So there it is. He heard it. He's not done just yet. We're going to hold you to that, Quentin. How about one more big round of applause? Driver of the 17, Quentin Borison. Keith, filling in for somebody tonight, talk about that driving the 67.
It was just, it's a great car, first of all. And I'm just thankful to get the opportunity. So, I got some sponsors I'm supposed to say. BECU, Rep and Welding and Rail, Buzz In, Monroe, Ghost Home Delta Cams, Two Girls and a Leaf, Mackenzie and Jake, of course, Wellness Solutions, and Brandy Hood Promotions.
All right, now you're Jim Mackey. So, hey, crazy race out there, a couple intersection hits, and you're able to sneak through the intersection, sneak your way up onto the podium. Tell me how crazy that 30 laps was.
It worked a lot. It was pretty crazy. Cars going everywhere. Intersection was fun. A lot of close calls.
Who all do you need to thank for getting the 11 car up on the podium today?
What's that?
Who do you need to thank?
Kenny Shoe Car and Be Happy Carpet Cleaning.
Well, after that fantastic Superstock Figure 8 main event, cars off the track, trucks on. We go to the 3/8 mile and the Northwest Pro 4 Truck 30-lap A feature coming up now on Home Track Heroes. Caleb Hart, Kyler Hope, and let's meet our truck drivers, shall we?
Yeah, we got a great field of them. Always put on a great show. Love it having Northwest Pro 4 Trucks come and visit us here at Evergreen Speedway. We got the 7 of Matt Green and then the 8 of Shane Green on the front row.
There's more Greens to come. Haley Wilkinson inside row 2 in the Tony V's Garage 35 truck, and Aaron Green in truck number 6 outside the second row.
I feel like the Greens are starting to outnumber everyone else.
I think they've got 3 of the 4 top starting spots. That's almost cheating.
We'll have to see. 24, McKenna Cox inside of row number 3, the Cox Wheels Racing Machine, and her outside the 17, Mike Wiley, sponsored by RC Concrete, Stamped Concrete.
Chris Wisman, the Olympia Pizza and Pasta number 98. Next to him, Brooklyn Bender, the 18J truck, sponsored by J2. They make up the 4th row.
Then we got the 20 of Riley Rudell, sponsored by DL Enterprises, the 27 of Nicole Funden, and then the 18 of Steve here, sponsored by Fishing with Bros, rounding out the field as we get ready to go 30 laps around the 3/8 mile oval.
So their previous race here on Home Track Heroes was one that was in the wet, if you remember that one correctly, and it was all kinds of fun. I'm sure they're much happier to be on the dry and on the 3/8 for this as we go green. Wisman was the winner of that, so he is your defending race winner for this division.
And we go green with the flock of greens up front. That's Matt Green, the low 7 green truck. The green driving the green truck is leading the race as we go green. Coming off turn number 4, and that's going to be Matt Green leading the first lap with Shane Green in the 8 in second and Haley Wilkinson in 35 in third.
Yeah, Wilkinson looking to interrupt the green trifecta up in the front of this right now, doing a good job rolling the inside of the speedway. If you remember correctly, Doug Wilkinson, who we just saw in the Superstock Figure 8, was actually in that truck the last time it was out and put on a heck of a showing. So we know that truck's got some speed in it, and it's Haley working her way up into second right now with a bid for the lead if she could pull up just a little bit closer to green up in front.
Yeah, McKenna Cox looking to make it 3 wide, and looks like she will stay to the inside of Haley Wilkinson just enough, and that's going to push Shane Green way out, and he's going to be the big loser there. So all of a sudden, McKenna Cox up to second as she puts on a ton of pressure trying to run down the 7 of Matt Green, and that's Haley Wilkinson to her outside. So a couple of ladies battling hard for second. Haley Wilkinson with a good run, going to dive it deep and try to go around Matt Green. Gets a good run, a little bit of squirreliness off the corner, and not quite enough. And Wisman out of nowhere, he's going to look to the inside now.
Wow, it's like watching pinballs in and through there. They're just kind of going ba-bink, ba-bink, ba-bink off each other all over the place. Not hard enough for anybody to get into trouble yet, but wow, there was a lot of contact.
Yeah, a lot of shuffling positions as well. As the only one that stayed consistent is Matt Green up at the front in that 7 truck as he continues to roar on. But I think Haley Wilkinson might have found some of that outside lane last 2 times. She's been able to carry quite a bit of momentum as long as she can keep the rear wheels underneath her, as we're going to go 3 wide for the race lead right here.
Oh, wow. It's Wisman and Wilkinson making a green sandwich, and Cox gets in there too. McKenna running with a lot of confidence. She's won a couple of races over in Wenatchee and had some good showings in the truck series there. So it's Cox and Wisman battling for second. Wilkinson's your leader, and we're coming up on slower traffic at the same time. This is going to get really interesting. Oh, no.
McKenna Cox goes around from Brooklyn Bender. Mike Wiley getting in there as well, and then also some damage for the front end of Riley Riddell in the 20 machine. I was just about to mention Brooklyn Bender made a great move last time through 3 and 4 to gain a few spots and get a good run on the top 3, as she was your fast time in the Pro 4 trucks today. As we'll take a look here, I think it just got choked up with the lap car, and I think Brooklyn didn't quite know that McKenna Cox had to come down to avoid the 18 of Steve here and just kind of bottlenecked everyone going down the back straightaway. So just tough break there, yeah.
Yeah, this will be the better look at it. And I don't know that Brooklyn anticipated McKenna correcting. And McKenna didn't even really hard correct there, but she just couldn't arc the truck all the way to the far outside with the way that's sequenced. Here's a look from the turn 3 cam.
And I think that big hum of grass that McKenna Cox hit was able to slow down the truck enough from any hard contact to that inside wall. So hopefully the 24 will be able to continue on. Some good front end damage on the 20 of Riley Riddell. It looks like he might have pulled it in to take a look at that. So we'll get ready for a restart here. It's going to be Haley Wilkinson on the outside of Christopher Wisman, and then a pair of greens in row number 2. As we get ready for the restart here, 21 laps to go, and that sun is shining nice and bright now, so another factor for the drivers to have to deal with.
Hopefully they got their tinted visors on as they'll roll through the corner, and we'll come back to action. And again, last time that we saw the trucks, it was Wisman and Wilkinson, just a different version, inside, outside, down the front straightaway here. So Haley with a really nice restart. That truck's got good launch, and she's going to just dart right up in the lead.
Yeah, and I think the 98 looks like he just might be struggling. I don't know if he might have lost a gear, so he's to restart in a higher gear, or something's going on in that 98 to where he just not have a ton of get up and go on the initial restart. But now you see the 98 truck looks like he's running just fine, as Matt Green's going to settle into thirds. We're going to go 3 wide back towards the pack. That's Fun and way on the outside, trying to get around. I believe that's Shane Green in the 8, and then Mike Wiley, who we saw get involved in that first caution, 17. Also trying to work his way back forward, as well as Brooklyn Bender is able to work her way back up to 5th. So we're going to just settle in right here and try to get a few laps going.
Oh, no. Haley loops in front of the field, grabs victory from the jaws of defeat, coming off of corner number 4 and knows the truck pointing the wrong direction. What happened there?
We had everyone single file, and I was trying to say, let's just get some laps going, and then Haley just not going to listen to me. She's got really rear end loose coming off the corner and looped it around. And Brooklyn Bender, I think, probably had the scariest moment right there, coming behind whoever she was following, and just saw the front end of Haley Wilkinson. It was not ideal at all.
Yeah, from that original viewpoint, you could almost see the back end of that truck trying to step around on her as early as the apex of the corner. So fought it, and eventually lost the fight, and that'll redo your front row even more as... Well, trucks lined up 2 by 2, ready to go back to green.
Yeah, and before we forget, this segment is brought to you by Monroe Grocery Outlet. Monroe Grocery Outlet is your locally owned neighborhood grocery store. They offer name brand products, fresh produce, organics, wine, and more at 40 to 70% less than traditional grocery stores. Shop them first and save. Monroe Grocery Outlet is the proud sponsor of our Superstock Figure 8 class, which we saw last segment put on a great show. As the Pro 4 trucks continue to put on a great show right here, as Brooklyn Bender got a great jump from the outside of row number 2 right there.
Yeah, and again, you saw Wisman slow to take off. Bender outside row 2, clears Wisman, dives to the inside, passes Green, and it's Bender taking your lead with 19 to go. So still a lot of racing to happen, but boy, Brooklyn Bender, fast.
And given the black flag for that, so it looked like she might have cut underneath before the start-finish line, because she was outside of row number 2, and it looked like she was to the inside of Matt Green at the start-finish line. We know Wisman's been having those issues on the restart, but Brooklyn Bender changing lanes just too soon right there, and the NASCAR official's not liking it, so she's showing the black flag and have to serve a pass-through penalty and hopefully be able to rejoin the field, but going to be a couple laps down.
Wow, that's terrible news for Brooklyn Bender. Rough break for her in what was the truck race of her life, at least so far. Well, that'll sequence Wisman back up into the front of the field with them racing Greens in behind him, and the Wiley Coyote sitting in position number 4. Mike Wiley starting to make some decent laps.
Yeah, that's Aaron Green on the bottom in the 6th, and then Matt Green in the number 7 truck on the outside. As Mike Wiley, he looks like he's picked up a lot of speed here late. He was involved in that first caution, got sent to the back, and he's just been picking off one by one, staying really patient. He's working his way forward up to 3rd now.
One of those drivers that might need to get a few laps in and get some rhythm going, as there he is chasing down Aaron Green. Green trying to use the high side of the speedway, and you can kind of see him starting to arc the truck up a little bit higher at corner entry, maybe preparing himself to try to drive up and around Wisman. Wisman pretty well committed to the bottom as we expected.
Yeah, and that's just the fast way around on a dry track, which these guys haven't seen this year at Evergreen Speedway. They've had some sort of moisture usually, and thankfully we got the sun shining right now. This is a new obstacle for them to deal with as they go down into turns 3 and 4 right here. They're looking right at it, and it is bright, and it is sometimes really difficult to see when you're coming through turns 3 and 4 when the sun's shining like that.
Over halfway, 16 complete, 14 to go. Wisman, Green, and Wiley 1 through 3, and then more Green 4 and 5. In fact, it looks like the 8 of Shane getting to the inside of the 7 of Matt as they race for 4th going into turn number 3.
Yeah, and up front, these top 3 are really starting to close together, so I don't know if Wisman is maybe having more issues than some of the transmission, or it might be something else going wrong in the 98, so he's fighting something, and the car's not as fast as we're normally seeing it. As it looks like Aaron Green's going to have a look to the outside for a second, like you had mentioned. He might be trying to set himself up to try to get around the 98, pulls all the way up to the back bumper, then lets off as he still has another 12 laps to try to do something to get around Christopher Wisman. As in the corners, you can see just how much faster Aaron Green is.
So they've talked about this, and they've been fighting in what they believe to be an electrical gremlin in this truck for the better part of 3 years now. Father James, truck owner and head wrench, bottle washer, you name it, he does just about everything on that thing, has been hunting up and down, and what they say happens is that about mid to 3/4 of the way down the straightaway, it cuts off and just dies. It doesn't have any more power to it, and you can kind of see right at that point, it's hard to identify. It looks like the power is staying consistent for him, so I don't know if it's that same gremlin that's popped up or not, but Wisman unfortunately just moved out of the groove, and there goes Green to the inside looking to take the lead.
Yeah, Green carried a ton of momentum off of 3 and 4 that time, was able to get the inside of Wisman early, I think before Wisman even could expect it, and got around him going down the back straightaway. Wisman's getting all the way back to the back bumper, and that's going to stack up the top 3 momentarily, as Wiley now is going to get a run to the inside of Wisman.
Yeah, Wiley to the low groove, shows him the door panel, contact made. Wiley trying to drive by, forcing Wisman up racetrack, and it's Mike Wiley taking over position number 2 as they barrel into the 3rd and 4th corners once again. 8 to go, a new leader and a new runner-up on this field.
Yeah, Wiley was able to get inside, and I think Wisman was really trying to pinch him down, and Wiley wasn't going to back out, and he hung on to that 2nd spot, and now tries to set his sights on Aaron Green. I think Wiley might be the fastest truck out here, though, as he came from the back of the pack all the way up to the front, and now starts to close in on Aaron Green. At the same time, he starts to lose touch of the 98 of Wisman behind him. Wiley going to look to the inside down the front straightaway.
Wiley's got to run. Can he make it connect? They go into 1. Green slams the door there, but opens it again off the bottom of 2. Here comes Wiley trying to stick the nose in. He's trying to make his way up to mid-door, and the lane is his, and off of corner number 4, new leader, it's Mike Wiley.
Yeah, he just dove it in so hard there into turn number 3, was able to make the pass work, and I think Aaron Green might be trying to set him back up to try to get to the inside of Wiley, get on the back straightaway, and maybe do exactly what Wiley just did to him. but I don't think he's going to have enough speed to get there, enough momentum this time by, as Wisman starting to re-enter the picture as well in the 98. So this is still far from anyone's race with coming to 5 laps to go this time by.
Yeah, good battle up front as this is by no means decided. Here comes Green right back in on that rear deck lid of Wiley's 17 truck. Less than a car truck length, in fact, separates the two of them. As we're down to 4 left and that slower truck looming on Steve here. We'll see if he makes a factor in this at all as they come into 1 and 2.
Yeah, Aaron, he carries a ton of momentum through the center of the corner, but just cannot carry that speed off. I don't know where Mike Wiley finds all that momentum off the corner, but he's able just to check out from the 6 of Aaron Green enough just to where Aaron can't get any sort of run going. But it's just going to take one small mistake from Wiley because Aaron Green's all over him. He's going to get all the way to the back bumper this time. Oh, the tailgate, I guess?
Yeah.
All the way to the back tailgate, trying to make something happen. Coming to 2 laps to go this time by. Aaron Green is all over, filling up that rearview mirror, Mike Wiley.
Both truck drivers sniffing a win here. Green thinking he's got a shot at this. Into 1 they go. Wiley again hits the mark, gets the truck down to hug the white line and make it difficult on Green with Wisman right there in case something happens between your top 2.
Exactly, yeah. Wisman, he's really, really close, and I think he's close enough to where he could get caught up in something if something happens to the top 2. White flag is out, but I think he's trying to stay far enough back to, in case something does happen, he can avoid it and sneak on through. Aaron Green almost enough to make contact to the back bumper of Mike Wiley. He's going to have one more shot going down to 3 and 4 this time.
2 more corners decide this thing, and it appears to be decided. Mike Wiley gets the Northwest Pro 4 truck win ahead of Green and ahead of Wisman. Good race up in front of the field as somebody spun out at the very end.
Yeah, looks
pointing backwards.
Looks like that's Fundin right there in the 27. Looks like made a little bit of contact with those Ute tires. It wouldn't be a race without those Ute tires. Just poor innocent Ute tires.
tires.
And gonna throw it in reverse and get across the finish line. So that'll round out the end of the field right there. We'll head on down to the Angel of the Winds platform with Greg Piling, your top 3. Once again, Mike Wiley able to hold off Aaron Green and Christopher Wisman. Wiley coming all the way through the back of the pack after being involved in an early yellow. And we'll head on down and throw it to Greg Piling.
Mike, so that 17 truck looked awful good tonight. Tell us a little bit about that battle that you had with Aaron going back and forth, but you took that low lane going into turn number 1, ended up working out well for you tonight.
It did. I tried outside a couple of times on him, and I just couldn't come off good enough. And I had a hard time getting around him on the bottom, but he left a little window, and we took it.
I love it. Mike, tell us about your sponsors you need to thank for tonight.
Dick Wyness Jr., RC Concrete, and my pit crew, and my lovely wife.
So it was a lot of fun. We just kept on saying green, and we had a pretty good chance of being right. We had 3 greens out here tonight, but you prevailed coming in second.
Oh, yeah. Well, at least we all finished in the top 5, so can't be all bad.
That's right. So tell us a little bit about that battle between you and the 17 truck.
Yeah, Mike and I had a pretty good battle going on. I saw him trying to sneak up the inside, and I kind of gave him the line, and, of course, he took it.
Aaron, do you have any sponsors you need to thank for being here tonight?
Nope, nobody on board, just us, family members.
It's never a bad time to be on the podium, but with that early lead that you had looking so strong in that truck tonight, tell us a little bit about that, bumping back to the 3rd spot.
Yeah, we had a hard day today trying to fight a hesitation issue and tried everything we could, and it got the best of me. But I wouldn't want to get beat by anybody else than those 2 gentlemen right there.
All right, Christopher, tell us about the sponsors you need to thank for being out here tonight.
Skookum Brewery, Olympia, Pizza and Pasta, Jim Wiz at Race Car Help, my friends and family, and Gooch and his family.
And welcome back to Home Track Heroes here on CW11. Kyler Hope, Caleb Hart up here, and we're going to stick to the 3/8 mile, but we're going to go back to cars, and we're going to put V8s in them, and we're going to bring out my favorite class here over in Speedway, the street stocks, because who doesn't love some street stocks?
We all love some street stocks, and this is shaping up to be another good main event. I know that sounds like a broken record, but it really does. I'm excited for this one, and especially excited for some of the names that we're going to have out there on this field.
Exactly, yeah. Let's start out. Let's get to know the field before we start talking about them. The 19 to Jake Grant on the pole, sponsored by Stein's Tap House, and his outside, that is the 3 car, but it's piloted by a first-time street stock driver. He's got to cut him a break here. It's Trent Moriarty. I don't know if you ever heard of him, but it's his first time ever in a street stock.
Feature winner in mini stocks and in late models here at the track. So he has won in 2 of our other premier divisions and is looking to add a third to the resume.
Exactly, yeah, and that is the Cruisewick own number 3, sponsored by Dunstan Bradley Industrial, and that is the outside of the front row.
The row behind them is Jeff Watson, the 51 Sonoma County Excavating, Mike Marthaler outside of him in the 44, Direct Carpet Cleaning and House Cleaning.
Row number 3, the 57 of Doug Poyer, sponsored by Ox Chassis, and it is outside of the 41 of Mark Hubbard, sponsored by Interstate Batteries.
So we're going to stop with your lineup here for just a half a second because this is pertinent here. That's the car who's going to be starting dead last in the field, and that is Ted Lindgren, who executed a motor change and is literally just getting back into the racetrack, getting unloaded for his feature here.
Yeah, we just saw him pull through the back gate, I think maybe 20 minutes ago, and they just rolled the car out as the street stocks were rolling onto the track, rolled it out of his pit, and looks like he's going to try to join the field right here. So great story there for Ted Lindgren. Big props to his team to go out and do a complete motor change in a single day, as that was the one to go right here. So we got to blow through the rest of this lineup. 43 is Sheridan Vincent in row number 4. Jim Fody to his outside in the 85.
49 Calvin Miller, Northwest Poly Services Concrete Lifting Company, and Scott Perkins, the 16, All About Transmission and Automotive. 27 Cale Woodsky, 22 Kenny Erickson, sponsored by AFC Forestry, and Lindgren. Let's go green.
Yep, Lindgren again rounding out the field. Great story there. It's just Trent Moriarty in the 3 car trying to work the outside, and he's going to carry the momentum. He's going to use all that extra pavement out there. Try to get around Jake Grant. Doesn't quite get completely cleared. Looks like Jake's going to play really nice on the inside. Let the 3 slide in, and Jake's going to settle for second. Trent Moriarty leading his first laps in the street stock.
That's right. So he was very happy to see the 6 invert, apparently, that came up on this one. Side by side for looks like 3rd, 4th, and 5th. That's Marthaler up on the outside of Watson. Watson down low battling, trying to hold that top 3. And actually, there's a gap underneath Grant coming off at turn number 4 for second.
Yeah, Jeff's going to try to carry the momentum and get to the inside of, and that's Sheridan Vincent going around hard into a Uke tire. Like we had mentioned, it's not a race without a Uke tire getting hit. And that one got pummeled by Sheridan Vincent there.
Sheridan Vincent taking out all of his aggression on the Uke tire on the way into turn number 1, and we've got a replay of exactly what happened.
Yeah, we'll take a look at it there. This would be a good break for, it's Jim Fody to his outside, as they looked like that might have been tire-to-tire contact coming off the corner and just shot the 43 of Vincent to the inside. Well, we'll take another look at it there. Is a little bit farther back in the pack, and yeah, you could just see the front end of, that's a vicious hit. The front end of Sheridan, that right front tire just made contact with the left rear of Fody and sent him spinning, and yeah, that's one of the toughest hits you'll see on a Uke tire.
Yeah, the velocity in which he struck that and kicking the little bit of standing water that gathers inside of those Uke tires up into the air. Let's get a more up close and personal view of this. There's the contact, there's the Uke tire strike, and the caution comes out.
Yeah, I'm not sure you really place blame on one of the others. We'll go on board right here with Sheridan Vincent. I mean, it looked like there's kind of both a little bit, Fody coming a little bit off the wall, Sheridan coming up, and that GoPro's down on the floor now.
Race and deal to some extent. Yeah. It's not like either of them was swerving in the other one's lane. 2 cars going for one spot. That doesn't fit, and we'll have to try it again.
Yeah, so, we'll re-rack them back up here as it's going to be the 3 car of Trent Moriarty still leading. Jeff Watson in second, as we're going to skip forward a little bit in the program right here, as Jake Grant has fallen out of the top 2 in this exchange here as we get ready for the restart. Trent Moriarty getting a good jump. He's going to drift up a little bit. That's Jim Fody shooting deep to the inside.
Look at Fody getting racy, and then week after week it feels like, I tell you, Fody's working on the race car. He's putting new parts into it. He's getting faster with some new stuff, and now Fody making it all pay off. He's sitting second right now.
Yeah, Poyer having to back out of the gas a lot as he almost made contact with the back bumper of Jeff Watson for 3rd, as Trent Moriarty able to pull ahead. That just shows how powerful that 3 car is. And the real battle right now is for 3rd. We got Jeff Watson, Mike Marthaler, and Doug Poyer all battling hard right there.
Jesse Jensen, the normal driver of the 3 cars, taking the weekend off as his kid, big into quarter midgets, got a big quarter midget regional race going on, and he's crew chiefing, car owning, and being supportive dad. So Trenton got got the call, and boy, 3 is potent no matter who the driver is, although Moriarty knows how to get around here, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's had a few laps here as Jim Fody starting to back up a little bit, getting some heavy pressure from Jeff Watson in the 51 machine. So have to keep an eye on that battle for second as Marthaler continues to battle the outside of Poyer. It looks like Jeff's going to get a good run on the inside, maybe a little bit of contact right there between him and Jim Fody, and that's going to allow Poyer to get the outside of Jeff Watson.
Yeah, didn't quite have him clear, so Fody able to get back down and at least temporarily close the door, but Poyer getting involved on the outside in the 57 car, and they are side by side for third, and Poyer looks to nose ahead coming out of the second corner for it.
Yeah, we're just keep our eyes on Trent Moriarty up here in that 3 car. He's going to battle the sun going into turns 3 and 4 as it's really starting to set and getting really right in these drivers' eyes, which can become hazardous as we've seen so many incidents in the middle of 3 and 4 this year. As if someone goes around and they're just looking to a blinding smoke cloud with that sun peeking through it, it just is not fun for anyone involved.
So here's one of the things I can tell you, and I've talked about it a few times, is drivers using tinted shields or using some kind of dark tint, almost like sunglasses on the shield on their helmet. Moriarty runs a blue tinted shield, which is actually even more color and light canceling than what your smoke style tint shield goes. So if anybody's going to be equipped out here to deal with that sunshine coming off of 3, it's going to be Trenton, who's got the blue shield on his helmet and clearly is cruising.
Yeah, he's definitely very comfortable behind the wheel of that 3 machine. It is a big battle for second back there. Jim Fody, Doug Poyer, Jeff Watson, all of them involved. Mike Marthaler as well. But Trent Moriarty, he's just nice, comfortable Saturday night drive out front in that 3 car.
He's got a straightaway on Fody and the rest of the field at the moment. These are easy, cool, calm, and collected laps for Trenton. In the 3 is Jake Grant's around here in the front straightaway. Tough break for the 19.
Yeah, he was up front early. We saw him lead the first lap, and it's also Ted Lindgren involved as well. So that's a tough break for 2 drivers who have had a long day. Obviously, we mentioned Ted Lindgren having to do a complete engine change back at the shop, and that's definitely not how you want to see his day end. It looks like some heavy left front damage for Lindgren.
Well, you see Lindgren pushing something serious coming off the corner as he comes back down in contact with Grant. Sends Grant around, hands fly up in the air, people are upset. It is all bad, all bad things.
Maybe telling him he's number 1. Is it just like someone possibly broke already on the 88 machine in that left front, even before the contact, the way he was steering through that corner and then they hooked up? It could have been a really bad push that finally caught up to him or something like that, but it definitely like someone was right on the 88 machine.
All right, so it is going to be Moriarty restarting with Fody next to him. This segment brought to you by PRCBD. Swing by PRCBD in Arlington for all your CBD questions or needs for people, pets, and more. Go to prcbd.com and use promo code RACE.
As we get back to green flag action, as Jim Fody's going to give a little bit of a door to Trent Moriarty, let him know, hey, I'm here to race you. I don't care who's behind the wheel of that 3 car. I'm going to race you hard. Jim Fody having a great run today so far. Now he's going to have to try to fend off the 57 of Doug Poyer, and we've seen the 57 up on the podium many times this year, so it's also a really strong car. As Doug Poyer is going to drift off of turn 4, slide into 3rd, right in front of Mike Marthaler. Jeff Watson's fallen back to about 6 now with Mark Hubbard entering the picture now, finally, in the 41 machine.
You know, at the end of the race, Hubbard always seems to be there somewhere around the top 3 and just has lots of time. We're only at the halfway mark right now, and Hubbard climbing up into 5th and closing on Marthaler for 4th.
Yeah, I think Jeff Watson there just got hung up on the outside and lost, I think, 3 or 4 spots. A tough break there for Jeff Watson. The bright yellow number 51 machine that's really hard to miss no matter where you're at Evergreen Speedway. 49, Calvin Miller, he's going to be the next to try to pick him off. And Kenny Erickson and the 27 of Caleb Woodsky. I mean, that's a really cool-looking car. First time out here at Evergreen Speedway this year, and he's hanging tough back there in the 27, keeping it clean.
Yep, one of the great things about the Canadian border being open once again, so we can get drivers like Woodsky coming down from BC to compete with us and feeling his oats here at Evergreen Speedway. First time we've seen him in a number of seasons.
And Trent Moriarty up front now, but Doug Poyer is able to clear that big mess behind him and try to get some solid laps into hopefully run down the 3 car and try to battle for the race lead as he has 13 laps to do so. Here's a really good battle for 3rd. That's Jim Fody, the 85, and the 44, Mike Marthaler. Marthaler is going to look high and then duck down low. Great move there by Mike Marthaler. Going to get a good run to the inside of Fody, and he's going to possibly try to clear him coming off the corner. A little bit of contact between the two, but Mike Marthaler moves up to 3rd.
It was a beautiful move by Marthaler to make Fody think he was going high, coming back down low, and then Jim gets into the back end of Mike, and bad things happen. Bad things again. All bad things.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there was contact last time in 3 and 4, or if Mike was just able to make a good move and get underneath him or something, but it looked like he might have done something to upset Jim because this looks pretty blatant from the 85 right here.
Yeah, I think that's pretty definitive. As you get into the corner, that's a tapping around, and well, Marthaler will either go to the back of the pack or be done, or one or the other, and we'll see what the repercussions are for Fody. Let's get a look at it from the turn 1 cam into the turn. And
this looks almost identical to the last time the Street Stocks were out here, and except it was a 3 car behind the 44 and got sent around in the same spot, it looked like.
Oops.
So the 85 of Jim Fody's getting parked for that contact move, dumping,
Oops.
whatever you want to call it. But Mike Marthaler was going to rejoin the back of the field, and tough break there for Jim Fody. We're talking about how great of a run he was having, but sometimes your own worst enemy is yourself, and that was point proven right there from Jim.
So interesting restart here for Moriarty with 12 to go. Now with Poyer on the outside. We've seen the 57 has plenty of power, plenty of speed. He's in the non-preferable groove, and Trenton going to get away out of turn number 2.
Yeah, Poyer, he was trying to get it hooked up, but just looked like he could never fully get the power down to that outside lane, and he's going to just squeeze in front of Mark Hubbard quickly and try to settle in line and put some pressure behind Trent Moriarty and see if he can make that 3-car make a mistake, possibly try to take the inside line away from him. But he also has to worry about Mark Hubbard now, who's up to the 3rd spot and trying to close in. Like you mentioned, Mark Hubbard, end of these races, just happens to find the right spot, keep his nose clean the whole race, and get his way up there and knock on the door on the podium.
You know, a wise man once said, they're going to give you more spots than you're going to be able to take, and Hubbard does a really exceptional job of keeping his nose clean during these street stock main events. And it shows with his good finishes up to 3rd, and you can almost see him starting to pace that middle in the corner, kind of thinking about it, knowing, okay, if I want to swing around Poyer, I'm not going to be able to drive underneath him. Let's try to drive around him. And there's a look at what he's trying to do in 1 and 2.
Exactly, yeah, and that sun is really creeping down now. You see it's almost directly in the driver's eyes right here in turns 3 and 4, and that is putting a lot more shading on the track as well, so the track's starting to cool down. A big change for these drivers. Tires going to heat up a little bit less, and Jeff Watson squeaking his nose in there. He had to get on the brakes hard to avoid contact between him and Mark Hubbard for 3rd place. Jeff's doing a phenomenal job here on the 51. We saw him fall off in that last restart, but this time he's able to keep pace with Poyer and Hubbard, and he's going to try to pressure to get back up on the podium as Trent Moriarty seems to be pretty comfortable letting these two battle out for second and try to drive away.
Sometimes the caution flag's all you need, not only to reset the car, okay, cool, let the tires cool off a little bit for a second, but reset your brain as well and go, okay, cool, here's what I'm going to come out and do over these last 10 laps. Focus, lock in, ready to go, and maybe that's what Watson's been able to do. You know, as a young racer, that mental relief of a caution every once in a while is a nice thing.
Yeah, he's a 2nd-year driver here in the Street Stocks in 51. His brother Gene is a first-year Legends driver, and they both are celebrating a birthday recently, and that's going to get deep on the inside. Some hard contact there on the left rear tire of Mark Hubbard. I don't think Hubbard knew that the 51 of Watson was all the way to his inside and was just driving his line, and all of a sudden came down the nose of Watson, and Watson's going to carry that momentum through and clear Hubbard going down the back straightaway. Hubbard's going to try to fight hard on that outside line, which Hubbard's probably one of the best at doing it, but I'm not sure how much contact that was to damage the left rear tire on Hubbard.
Hubbard looked a little loose coming off of corner number 4 in the outer groove there, and that really lets Watson secure the position with 4 to go. So Watson, a nice run up into 3rd and passing Hubbard, the defending champion of the division, with a chance still to improve. It's not like Poyer's too far away from him here as we got 3 left.
Exactly, yeah, 3 to go for Jeff Watson to try to improve his spot on the podium and also have to fend off Mark Hubbard, who might not be very happy after that little bit of contact. We'll maybe see some retaliation from that 41 machine if he's able to catch the 51, but he's got to catch him first as Mark Hubbard trying to do so. Doug Poyer in 2nd, just in front of Jeff Watson, who's in 3rd. Trent Moriarty was just out of the picture in that 3 machine as he's looking very comfortable and very close to that first one in the street stock.
I would think that Moriarty at this point in time, with all the gap that he has, is thinking about the Trenton Moriarty undefeated street stock driver t-shirt that he's going to be printing any day now and that I'm going to buy from him. With 1 to go, it has been a dominant performance for the Cruisewick owned number 3, and Moriarty going to get his 3rd feature win and his first feature win in 3 different divisions now at Evergreen Speedway. That's a pretty decent little resume.
Oh yeah, going. Exactly. Coming off the corner, letting it sing. Checkered flag is out for Trent Moriarty. Doug Poyer 2nd. Jeff Watson get on the podium for the first time this year in that 51 machine. Great race by him, able to get around Mark Hubbard late. Mark Hubbard comes home 4th, and overall, a great race from the Street Stocks.
Absolutely. Print that T-shirt, Trenton, or let's at least get those thoughts as we head things down to the Angel of the Winds Casino podium for our winners interviews.
All right, Trenton. So I've heard from multiple sources, first start ever in a NASCAR Street Stock tonight.
Yeah, no, first time on the track today. Man, that was a blast. I mean, I remember the mini stock days where you just got to keep turning the wheel, and that's what you got to do in these things. It's a lot different than a super late model or a pro late model. But I got to thank Dave Payton for the badass motor. That thing freaking rips. And Dustin Bradley Incorporated, Dirk, Will Cruz Motorsports for allowing me to fill in for Jesse. He's over at the Cornmeadows track, so I'm honored. This is awesome.
You kind of made yourself look like a grizzled veteran. I know you've done in other different divisions out here at Evergreen Speedway, but got to feel good first time out here getting the win.
Yeah, first time, and I could at least say I've won in the top 3 divisions here at Evergreen, and it's nice to be back. I haven't been here in almost 3 years now, so it's kind of cool.
Heck of a battle out there, Doug. Maybe a few more laps, you might have been able to catch up, but it looked like Trenton was pulling away just a little bit at the end there.
Yeah, car just got too loose at the end. That's hanging on.
Any sponsors you want to thank tonight, Doug?
J2 Racing and Ox Chassis, and my guys back in the pits. Couldn't do without them.
First off, I love the fact that your driver's suit matches your car. Just looking sharp out there. Tom was talking about it's a good-looking car you have out there.
Yeah, it's great. We work really hard on the car. This race was huge for us. We put a new setup in the car last night, and it really paid off for us tonight. And I just want to say thanks to all my sponsors, SE Trucking, Stack Design, AMSOIL, Apex, and STM Concrete. Thank you guys. And Elevate Media too. They're out here at the track taking photos of the car and everything. So thank you guys. I can't appreciate you guys enough.
Welcome back to Home Track Heroes here on CW11. Caleb Hart, Kyler Hope. It is NC Machinery Reunion Night. We are finally reuniting our Pro Late models with the 3/8 mile track here at Evergreen Speedway. It has been a full 3 months since they got a full feature in, and now the sun is shining, things are dry. We're ready for their 75 lapper for the A main.
Exactly, yeah. What a beautiful sight that is. Seeing the sunshine, the blue skies, and the Pro Late models rolling out onto the track. 17 of them rolling out as we got a big field of them. And let's get to know your lineup. Start on the front row, 14, Colton Price, sponsored by D2 Foundations, is outside the 12 seed. Chad Fitzpatrick, sponsored by Northland Contractors.
Row number 2 is Haley Constance, the Joe's Racing Products, number 78, and Wyatt Gardner in the Gardner Roofing, number 3.
And next row, the 18, Anema Lang, who won the one and only event so far this year in 2022 for the Pro Late model, sponsored by J&R Truck Rentals, and is outside fast time on the night. That's the 19 of Thomas Stanford, sponsored by D.A. Davidson Wealth Management.
Our 4th row, the PR CBD, number 16 of Daniel Moore, and the Bennett Design Construction, number 98 of Greg Bennett.
Next row, we got the 9K of Caden Holmes, sponsored by Johansson Mechanical, and is outside the 7D Dawson Cox, sponsored by Busch Light.
Starting 11th, the Gunderson Speed Shop, number 33G of Nick Gunderson, and in 12th, the 45 of Nick Beecher, sponsored by Harry's Towing.
Then we move on to Dan Beecher in the 74, sponsored by Beecher Motorsports, and it is outside the 52K of Travis Coonan, sponsored by Woodinville Import Auto Repair.
Final 3 starters, Mike Jensen, the 521 Liuna Laborers Union, his sponsor, Brad Thomas in the 5 in the Armageddon Arms number 5, and Angel Cervantes in the 82. So 17 cars lined up for 75 laps, and a special guest flagger as well to start this race.
Exactly, yeah. Longtime Evergreen Speedway flagger Dick Avalo up in the flag stand. We actually saw him throw the checkered flag for the street stocks, and he's up here again throwing the green flag for the Pro Late models here on Driver Union Night. You see him there in the black shirt with the classic white pants, and then it's flipped for John Peterson. He's got the white shirt with the black pants. But yeah, it used to be the olden days where everyone in the pits was wearing white pants, and Dick Avalo continuing that tradition on here on Driver Union Night.
I dig it. Pro Late models making their laps. The division is sponsored by Speedway Chevrolet, and our segment brought to you by Speedway Chevrolet. Visit Speedway Chevrolet and RV Center in Monroe for customized trucks, lifted trucks, work trucks, and Speedway Chevrolet can locate the truck that fits you best. Speedway Chevrolet and RV Center also wants to trade and will buy or consign your vehicle or RV and take the hassle out of selling it on your own. Speedway Chevrolet, long time supporter of Evergreen Speedway and these very late models.
Exactly, yeah. Speedway Chevrolet Pro Late model is going to be getting the one to go this time by by. Very anticipated, as it's been so long before they've been able to get an entire race in. They got 7 laps in a little bit ago, but hey, they got 75 on the docket for them right here. Sun is shining, and look at that beautiful field of late models rolling into number 1. Next time by, they'll be showing the green flag, and we'll be underway.
I can't tell you how antsy some of these drivers have been as they've been having practice days. They've come out, they've got some time trials, and they've got 7 laps of a main event a little while ago. They want to get a full run in. They've got new stuff under their cars. They've got new setups they're trying, and out of corner number 4, let's see what they got going. Green flag is out, and it's Price jumping to the inside and looking for the early lead.
Yeah, and Haley Constance getting a good run there. White Garner going to duck down behind her from the outside line. Chad Fitzpatrick going to try to carry the momentum to get to the inside of Colton Price. He's going to do that. Going to back out of it. Colton Price going to hang on. It looks like he's going to be able to lead lap number 1 as Chad got really hard on the brakes entering turn number 3, and that kind of stacked up the inside line, allowing Thomas Stanford to get to the outside of Haley Constance now.
Yeah, that was a good pickup there. You saw as Fitzpatrick yarded on the brakes how that car pushed up the racetrack, and it actually gave Constance the opportunity to kind of peek to the inside. Much better 3 and 4 that time for Fitzpatrick, as he's going to begin stalking Price. Price, your race leader, a rookie in the class, a move up from the mini stocks where he was track champion last year. You're watching the battle for 4th. Gardner to the inside, Stanford on the outside. Your quick time, moving forward fast.
Yeah, and Stanford also another rookie in the class this time. He ran a couple races last year, but this is his first full season in the Pro Late model, so he's going to maintain that rookie status. And this is a field full of rookies. We talk about how antsy some of these drivers are to try to get a race under their belt, not just because they haven't been able to race in a while, but just because it's their first year in the Pro Late model. They've only had 1 entire race so far, so definitely a full field of rookies. It looks like some problems for Greg Bennett right there as he's coming to slow through turns 3 and 4, possibly going to bring out the first yellow flag unless he's able to get it back under power.
Well, we're clean and green still at the moment as you see the lap ticker in the upper left counter, and there we go. Yellow flag is out. So Bennett slowing. You see him here on the front straightaway.
It's a tough break there for Bennett. I'm sure. I mean, it looks like complete power loss. Looks like all 4 tires are still up, everything like that. Just no power underneath the hood. So we'll bring it back up to the booth here in a second as we get Greg Bennett taken care of, get the lineup right, and tough break there for the 98, just 4 laps in, and some issues on his car right there.
Yeah, so they'll have to go back and troubleshoot a little bit on the Bennett car. So we talk about how antsy some of these drivers are and the seat time that they're lacking. The late models are a little bit different program than the other divisions. Usually here on Home Track Heroes, we get a chance to show you some heat races and such like that. Well, the Pro Late models, they practice, they qualify, and then they run a long main event. That's it. So there's no additional time other than the A main in which they're racing and competing against each other. They truly do need these A main laps to really dial their program in.
Exactly. Yeah, and I mean, with so many rainouts this year, a lot of these cars having problems. As green flag is out, Colton Price going to drift up into the side of Chad Fitzpatrick, trying to get the power underneath, and you saw Thomas Stanford shoot way wide for a second, possibly trying to avoid what he thought was going to be an accident, as they maintain side by side up front. Chad Fitzpatrick trying to carry that outside momentum to get around Colton Price, but looks like Colton Price going to be able to hang on to lead this lap.
Good time to remind you guys that the 18 and the 78 and the 19 have rubbed a little bit this year as well, so there is not a ton of love lost between those 2 cars who battle for 3rd right now, and there is the veteran Naaman Lang starting to sneak his way up into the conversation of your top 3 drivers.
Exactly, yeah, and I think to the right side of your picture right there, White Gardner, he was really far off the pace. He was, I think, 6th last time by, and coming off the corner either got really loose or something happened to the car, maybe fell out of gear because he was really slow down the back straightaway, but now it looks like he's back under power and just lost 5 or 6 positions there in the 3, but meanwhile up front, Naaman Lang trying to squeak his way to the inside of the 19 of Thomas Stanford, but up front it's still Chad Fitzpatrick on the outside of Colton Price, as Colton Price is going to try to drift up in front of him, just does not have enough to clear him yet. Haley Constance just waiting, telling one of these guys, hey, get out of my way so I can move forward and battle for this race lead.
Yeah, this is a fantastic battle. Those 5 are nearly thrown under a blanket. Meanwhile, Constance saw a little room, puts the right front to the left rear of Price, and Price in the process loses the lead to Fitzpatrick, who drives around the outside.
Yeah, Haley was really getting impatient there. He said, all right, if you guys aren't going to make a lane, I'll make one for myself. And unfortunately for Colton Price, he was the loser out of that as Haley got into his left rear, really upset the 14 car in the middle of turns 1 and 2 and allowed Fitzpatrick to get around the outside and take over the race lead. And Stanford's going to go rally crossing, and he jumped that access road, and he's going to have some heavy damage from that. I mean, I can only imagine how much late model can handle jumping through the access road like he did right there. It looks like so far so good, but that had to have been a wild ride in the inside of that 19 cockpit.
No visible damage to it, but who knows what's bent, what's off. It only takes 1/8 of an inch or so as we got a car going around. It's home, and he's taking a nose shot from Beecher coming through the corner, and that should draw another caution.
Yep, yellow flag is out. It looks like Nick Beecher really got majority of that damage right there. As long as he missed the left front tire of Caden, then Caden should be able to continue on. He's going to fire it up and try to roll through, maybe go get the damage checked out by his pit crew first. But yeah, that's definitely a heavy damage on the front of Nick Beecher as we look at a replay.
Let's get a second look at it as it was Cox tapping home around, and smash coming there. So you would expect nose damage on Beecher, left front damage on Holm. If they can continue, we'll find out as the field begins to form up once again.
Yeah, and I think that might have been Nick Beecher looking right into the sunlight, seeing a car go around and not quite being able to decide which way to go. And the sun, when it's set in 3 and 4 like that, it's so hard to really see what's going on in front of you. And as a result right there, tough break. I don't see Nick Beecher back out there. I see Caden Holm back out there. Maybe some of the left front damage fixed in from his pit crew. But, yeah, tough break for Nick Beecher early on in this race. 62 laps to go. Green flag back out in the air as Haley Constance trying to get around Chad Fitzpatrick, trying to carry that outside momentum. Going to stick to this door for now.
Interesting enough, Constance had nosed ahead of Price for second during that exchange, so that's what gets her the outside of the front row. It's Fitzpatrick kind of pushing her up, making her run wide. Haley trying to duck back to the inside. Nema Lang starting to move. He's to the outside of Price, and Nema is taking third down the back straightaway.
Yeah, almost able to completely clear the 14. Price maybe going to give him a little bit of a bumper there in the middle of 3 and 4, but 18L of Nema Lang going to check on through. But look at this up front. Haley Constance to the inside of Chad Fitzpatrick, and she's going to take over the race lead, going on that back straightaway. Going to try to clear him all the way up, and it's going to make the room. Why not?
Hey, that works. Haley Constance passed Fitzpatrick. You got a new race leader. It's our third different race leader of this race. Constance pulls down, trying to hold Fitzpatrick off, and Fitzpatrick ducking to the inside, now getting all kinds of pressure from Nema as they go into 3.
Exactly, yeah, and then the battle for 4th heating up as Dan Moore was to the inside of Colton Price and then backed out of it that time in turn number 3. So great battles all throughout your top 5. And Dawson Cox, he's been able to drive his way back through the pack after getting sent to the back after that last incident with Caden Holm, and he's sitting in 6th place right now as Nema Lang got to run to the inside of Chad Fitzpatrick for second. We'll see how hard of a fight Chad's going to put up with the veteran Nema Lang. They're going to almost touch going down the front straightaway as they continue to battle side by side. I think Haley's like, hey, battle all you guys want. Let me check out of here and just go check away with this race lead.
Yeah, it was those 3 up in the front of the field in that very first Pro Late Model main we saw. So this is starting to become a pattern between these 3 drivers as Constance looking to get away from Nema here. A lot of time left in this race. It is the youngster and the veteran now, 1 and 2, as Constance looks to expand her lead.
Yeah, looks like Chad got really loose that time off at turn number 2, lost a little bit of ground to Nema as he's trying to reel that 18 car back in. Colton Price hits in 4th, and that is Dan Moore in 5th. And one guy I don't see up here in the top 5 anymore is Thomas Stanford, so he must have came through pit road last time on that caution flag as he's now towards the back of the pack. Just take a look at any sort of damage that they could, because, I mean, when you jump a car like that, especially a late model, it's not supposed to be jumped. It's could cause all sorts of damage underneath the suspension, to even the cooling on the cars. There you take a look at them behind Travis Coonan. As we look at some of these cars farther back in the pack, we saw Wyatt Gardner. He had that issue and pulled to the inside and lost a little bit of ground, but looks like he's got that fixed. He's going to look to the inside, and Mike Jensen going into turn number 3.
Jensen trying to hold off Wyatt as they come through the corner. We have got a bunch of Pro Late Model racing still to come, but we've got to take a commercial break, so don't change that channel. We're more with the Speedway Chevrolet Pro Late Model main event after this on the CW11 and Home Track Heroes. Well, I told you to don't change that channel, and as you come back here to Home Track Heroes, we've got a new race leader out on the raceway. We'll flash to that and show you who it is in just a couple of seconds, because a lot is gunned down here in the Speedway Chevrolet Pro Late Model A main event. There's your new leader. Nema Lang took over the feature lead while you guys were away. Understand there was some technical problems on the Haley Constance car, and that knocked her out. Nema, your new race leader in the 18.
Yeah, unfortunate break there for Haley Constance, because she was doing a phenomenal job battling up front and was holding her own up front and just couldn't quite get the luck to follow her way as some mechanical issues troubled that 78 car, and now we find her on the pit road. But no new story here. Nema Lang up front, and this is a common theme I see.
New runner-up as well. Dawson Cox has moved his way through the field around Fitzpatrick, and he's in the second spot. Fitzpatrick, for the time being, is holding down third, but you look at Fitzpatrick, and that car looks just a hiccup off today. It's almost like somewhere they're just off enough. So Chad doing a great job of hanging on to the podium right now, but he's got a very racy, I think that's Moore sitting in behind him right now in fourth.
Yeah, Dan Moore on the PRCBD machine, putting a little bit of pressure on. That's about where he's been all day, sitting in that fourth, fifth position. And I think a lot of it could be the track conditions changing throughout the day, because it was really hot, really sun was shining most of the day. And now look at this, the cloud coverage has come, the sun has gone down, and the track is now really, really cool. So just completely different from what the drivers would have to handle setup-wise. And it's ultimately Nema Lang was able to make the right choices and put that 18 car up front.
There's a look at that PRCBD sponsored car, the 16 of Moore, who continues to try to close on Fitzpatrick and make a bid for the podium position. Fitzpatrick enjoying a 2 to 3 car length advantage over him right now, as we're down to 24 to go. Lang continuing to just clip him off and make him look easy like the veteran does. Him and his crew have seen every scenario, every track condition you can imagine. A race at just about any time of the day has Nema. So we come in. 23 left, just making it look easy out in front of this field.
Exactly, yeah. This segment is brought to you by Busch Beer. Busch Beer is the official beer of NASCAR and Evergreen Speedway. Busch Beer, the sound of refreshment, crisp and cold as a mountain stream. Keep your fridge happy by stocking it with Busch and Busch Light. Busch, as that was the Angel Cervantes machine, not quite knowing where to go, and Nema Lang went really low to get around him, and thankfully was able to keep it clean, as that was a little bit of a closer call than you'd want when you're the race leader with 20 to go.
We've seen Cervantes running a legend more than a few times. That's Brian Cottrell's former late model that Cervantes has now, as he's cutting his teeth and figuring out how to run it. Now everybody else got to make their way around Angel as well, and looks like second and third did that relatively safely.
Yeah, exactly, and Dawson Cox in that Busch Beer number 7. He's hanging out right now, trying to run down Nema Lang, or maybe saving his stuff a little bit, hoping for a late race restart. I mean, it's really tough to do. I mean, it's really tough to know what to do in a position like this, and you got 20 laps to go, and if you don't think you quite have the car to run down Nema, you just kind of hope you get a caution, save your stuff, and hopefully you're able to get him on the next restart. As we take a look at the 52 of Travis Coonan, he's got some front end damage from an earlier incident and was able to hang on to the car and not have the radiator or anything else pushed in to where the car stays cool enough. So it's normally when you see front end damage like that on a Pro Late model, you get worried about the radiator getting bent up or having some cooling issues and stuff like that. So good for Travis Coonan to be able to stay out there and click some laps in.
That's right. Just a flush wound. Nothing too bad, as Nema's going to go underneath and put a lap on Jensen. Comes up. Is that Cervantes again? Looks like it.
Brad Thomas, I believe,
Thomas,
in the 5.
There
yep.
you go. All right, so he'll come up on Thomas and put him a lap down. And Cox, I mean, as it is right now with 17 left, he'd have to clip off 17 straight laps of gaining on Nema by a 1/10 of a second or more just to catch up to him, just to get to the back of his car. Much less try to put a move on him to pass him. So it's a tall hill to climb for Dawson. I don't know if it's going to be even started to scale as we watch the battle for third.
Exactly, yeah, and a veteran like Nema could know the gap that he has right now and just be pacing, and the second that Dawson really starts to gain on him, you just know Nema's going to pull away and try just to open up that gap again. So you never really know what the other guy has in a position like this.
Even then, if you get that late race restart, you'd rather have your car with a little something left in it as well. So if they're given all of that artificial track position, okay, cool, I'm going to have a little more tire than the guy who's been trying to desperately run me down the whole time. As again, you're watching Moore. Moore's in that green and purple 16, and he's working on Fitzpatrick, the yellow and orange number 12. Fitzpatrick starting to come into some of that slower traffic himself, so he's going to have to figure out how to get around Jensen first and foremost, and there's Moore making the bid for the final podium position going into turn 1.
Yeah, and Moore is able to drive his car in so deep and make it stick, as you just see him gain so much on entry of all corners. The last few laps we've been watching this battle, as Fitzpatrick's now going to look to the inside of Jensen, and Daniel Moore is going to try to follow him through, and it's just tough. Oh, and contact there between Moore and Mike Jensen. That's going to bring out the caution flag, and I was just mentioning how great of a drive in on corner does Dan Moore get, and I think he just might have got a little bit loose there or didn't quite know that Mike Jensen was going to be there, and snuck up to the back of the 521 really quick. We'll have to take another look at that.
Yeah, the good news for Jensen is that the car doesn't look too significantly tore up. A little contact in the rear corner panel and in the door, but didn't even leave a tire smiley that I can see. So Mike will be able to drive away. Heck, might even be able to restart at the back of this field.
Exactly, yeah. And it looks like Moore actually got loose on entry right there. So I don't know if he maybe just didn't see the 521 peek around the 12C till the last moment and really got on the brakes, and that's what upset the 16 machine. But overall, tough break there as that takes him out of the equation for a top 3 finish.
Well, let's talk about the scenario that sets up right here, and that's exactly what we were discussing is did Nema leave something in the tank in case Dawson got a chance to start right outside him? Gonna find out as it's Cox on the outside, Nema on the inside, and we're back to green flag action.
Yeah, and Chad Fitzpatrick right there behind Nema going to try to capitalize because he was out of touch from Dawson Cox as well. And Thomas Stanford also re-entering the picture, so even after that pit stop, he's able to drive his way through the field and now challenge for a podium spot. He's going to get a good run to the outside of Chad Fitzpatrick going into turns 3 and 4.
So Stanford hustling, trying to use the high groove now. Door panel to door panel with Fitzpatrick, who's defending down on the low side. And you can see Fitzpatrick starting to come up in the corner a little bit. He's trying to push Stanford high and make him run the ragged edge to drive around him.
Exactly, yeah, and the 3 car of White Garner, he is a lap or 2 down. So Nick Gunnarsson in the 33, actually in your 5th place spot right now. So a graduate out of the Outlaw figure 8s, a rookie year here in the Pro Late Models, as Thomas Stanford was able to get around Chad Fitzpatrick that time in turns 1 and 2, able to make that outside line work. The 19 car is so strong. Chad Fitzpatrick going to suck up to his back bumper, try to get him to move up the track a little bit. But great piece of driving right there by Thomas Stanford to get around Chad Fitzpatrick.
That was impressive. Nice move by Stanford to pick up that final podium spot. Fitzpatrick trying not to let him get too far out in case Stanford has either used up the rest of his stuff or makes a mistake at that point. You had mentioned Gunderson with 10 to go, and you can see him just kind of clip it into the picture in the red and black car. That's another one of those drivers who, during this long layoff, has thrown the kitchen sink at that race car in terms of coming out for practice days, trying to learn it, trying to figure out what to do and where, taking it to the pull-down rig and resetting the front geometry on it as well. And at least it's showing up in the results here on day number 1 after all that work. So nice run for Gunderson. Nice to see some of that team's hard work and cubic dollars paying off.
Exactly, yeah. Top 5 be huge for a team like that, especially the first year running it. And here in the Pro Late Model Division, brought to you by Speedway Chevrolet, as we're going to flash back to Daniel Moore trying to make his way back through the pack. He's going to look to the inside of Travis Coonan this time in turns 3 and 4. That is the battle for the 6th position on track, as Dana Moore going to get a good run to the inside. That front end damage on Coonan probably not helping out the car aerodynamically, not hurting it a ton, but definitely not helping him. As we'll flash back up to the race leader, as Chad Fitzpatrick actually getting a run to the inside of Stanford.
All right, so Fitzpatrick trying to make the comeback here on Stanford. Stanford ahead going into 3, but Fitzpatrick with the preferred line coming through the corner gets tight there in the middle of the turn. Let's see if Stanford can hold him off coming into the final handful of laps here, as Fitzpatrick trying to rally and retake at least a podium finish here for himself.
Yeah, we saw this actually in week 1 with Thomas Stanford and Haley Constance battling hard. On the restart, Stanford's able to get the best of Constance and drive away for the first part of that run, but as that green flag run went on, Thomas Stanford's car just fell off a ton, and Haley was able to run him back down and get back by the 19. And here we're seeing the same thing. Chad Fitzpatrick, he lost touch with the 19 momentarily. 19 was able to get around him, and here comes Thomas Stanford back to the inside. A little bit of contact there, trying to move the 12C of Chad Fitzpatrick up the track ever so slightly. Now Stanford back to the inside.
It's a bump and run going into 1 as they swap lines. Now it's Fitzpatrick high, Stanford low. Coming to 3 to go, 4th, 3rd. Oh, and so a couple of different things happening there. Stanford getting loose on the inside of the track, and Fitzpatrick would be driving away even further, but that car had a little push mid-corner in the middle groove. Now it ends up hurting Stanford more than it does Fitzpatrick, as Fitzpatrick gets 3rd and secures it, and a car length or 2 on Stanford. But wow, a lot of stuff happened in just that one little blink of an eye.
Yeah, exactly. You saw what was really noticeable was the 19 of Stanford getting really loose on corner entry, just getting a little bit too heavy on the brakes. Rear end coming around on him. He did a great job of saving the car and not drifting up into the 12C of Chad Fitzpatrick, while we go back up front to Nema Lang, and white flag is in the air, and he has a nice lead over Dawson Cox, and I think this is on cruise control here Saturday night for Nema Lang.
Make it 2 for 2 on the year for Nema Lang in the Pro Late Models here at Evergreen Speedway, as Boy, easy like Sunday morning for Nema as he takes the checkered flag.
Yep, Dick Avilo up there waving the Washington Lottery checkered flag as it's going to be Nema Lang, Dawson Cox, Chad Fitzpatrick, your top 3. And it looked like Daniel Moore was able to get around Gunderson for that 5th spot in the top 5. So a good run there for Daniel Moore to get back up into the top 5 after causing that laser rate caution with about 14 to go.
Yep, good showing. A lot of drivers with a lot of good stuff to build on there, and some other drivers are going to head back to the drawing board. Let's talk to the 3 most successful of them as we head to the Angel of the Winds podium.
How does it feel to finally get a race in tonight, Nema?
Man, it feels like, what, 2 months since we've been out here? It's been rough for us and the crew, but I got to thank my guys. That thing was so much fun to drive tonight. I don't know what happened to Haley. I was looking forward to running to the end with her, and the rest of the guys, it was a fun race, a lot of restarts, but it's fun to win.
It was a great battle between you and Haley, like you said. I think up to about lap 36, and then she had to go off into the pits. Unfortunately, couldn't return, but a lot of fun to watch you two go back side by side.
Yeah, we were door to door, and I don't ever want to touch her because I want her to win on her own. But it'll be fun. It'll be fun racing with her the rest of the year.
Tell us about the people that help you out, Nema.
So it's JNR Truck Rentals, JNR Motorsports, Mark Westland, he's the setup guru guy, Lang Auto Sports, and Tracy DeYoung, DeYoung Inc.
That's just a good-looking hat.
Right, I got told if I podium tonight, it'd be wrong if I didn't. First of all, I'd really like to apologize to Caden Holmes and Nick Beecher. I thought I had enough on him to run it in, and I didn't, and he came down, and I didn't get to the brakes quick enough, and that was 100% my fault. I'm going to go apologize to him right after this because I feel like a tool. But we thrashed on this car from qualifying till basically right before the main. I really got to thank everybody that helped me. You know, Dave Riddell, John Bender, my dad Steve Cox. We had to put clutches in earlier. It's been an eventful day, and to make it up here is pretty awesome. Really like to thank my sponsors, Busch Light. They're really helping us out this year, and I couldn't do it without them.
Chad, I thought the battle between you and Stafford was pretty exciting. Lap 62, lap 70, 72, side-by-side action. How much fun for you to come in third place tonight?
Oh, that was a really good battle. That was fun. That felt like the longest race of my lifetime. Look, we've been struggling with the car all day, brakes, shocks, we ran everything. So getting this trophy night really means a lot.
And it's a big, important night for you. I know you're hugely involved with driver reunion night, so got to be fun to land on the podium on a night that you put so much effort into.
It really is. It's really nice to be in front of all these people that used to be at Monroe, you know, back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, and 2000s. It's really cool to be out here.
Tell us about who helps you out, Chad.
I got Mazda of Everett, Trademark RCS, Rosella Art Gallery, Powder Coating Inc., Stilly Select Beef, Rhino Manufacturing, Bailey Trucking, and all my crew. They worked their asses off today.
Welcome back to Home Track Heroes here on CW11. Caleb Hart and Kyler Hope up here in the booth with you guys, and we're going to head back to the figure 8 track with the Outlaw figure 8s. And I mean, if it's anything like the Superstocks, they're going to put on a great show, and I'm excited to put cars back on the most dangerous intersection on the planet.
Fingers crossed for a great race. Let's get to know your lineup. Your front row, Jamie Corbett, the A1 Auto Service Center, 767. Nick Holton next to him, the Northwest Adventure Rentals, number 71.
Doug Wilkinson in the Tony V's Garage, number 55 on the inside of row number 2, and his outside, his son Dakota Wilkinson in 25, also sponsored by Tony V's Garage.
The third row, Cowboy John Carlson, the Fireplace Guy, Hearth and Home LLC, number 50, and the Tire Pros of Arlington, 676 of Ricky Dietz.
Row number 4, we got the 51 of Ryan Clark, sponsored by Miracle and Memories Academy, and his outside, that's the 83G of Zach Larson, sponsored by Gunderson Speed Shop.
Jillian Lopato, the Hager Motorsport Zero, Chris Curtis, the 74, Boney Brothers Racing, the sponsor. As we get ready to go green, this segment brought to you by Tire Pros, the official tire dealer of Evergreen Speedway. Tire Pros, your one-stop tire retailer where honesty is the best policy, and they have a hassle-free guarantee. Tire Pros has all the national brands and offers a nationwide warranty on your tires. Go to TirePros.com.
And probably one of the best-looking Outlaws is that Tire Pros machine of Ricky Dietz that started on the outside of row number 3 in the 767, or 676 actually, as the 767 of Jamie Corbett's going to lead lap number 1, and he's going to check out as that's Doug Wilkinson on the outside in that blue number 55, trying to get around Nick Holton as they go through the South Pole and just almost able to clear him, and he does come off the corner, trying to bring the Cowboy John Carlson with him.
These cars have been plagued by wet weather all season long here at Evergreen Speedway, and it's nice that they finally get some dry out there on the raceway as you're watching Corbett, Wilkinson, and Carlson. And Carlson, our most recent feature winner, has been very good in said wet weather, seeing if he can quickly roll his way through. It's taken John about midway through each of those races to get up to the front. He does not want to wait that long this time.
Exactly, and here we see the 71, the 676. Last time we saw these two out on track, they got together in the intersection in that very wet race. There's a little bit of contact there between all four cars on your screen as Nick Holton took the blunt end of that hit from Ricky Dietz in the intersection. So good to see Nick Holton back out here and that car repaired, because that was definitely one of the nastier hits we've seen.
Prior to today, you would say probably the intersection strike of the year, although I think we've eclipsed that as of today. Yep. The Delfell strike, that was pretty darn good earlier in the show.
Yeah, tough break for Doug Telfels, and we don't like seeing that, but I mean, it's the most dangerous intersection on the planet, and that's why fans buy tickets, to see some close calls and some big intersection hits. As these top five really under a blanket of being led by Jamie Corbett, Doug Wilkinson, John Carlson, then Ryan Clark, and that is Chris Kerr, 71. So the Boney brothers rounding out the top five, and they're having a pretty good run right now.
Those two are putting a good showing together here, and if they can kind of tag team on Carlson, I mean, one of them get him to the wrong side of the corner, and then the other follows him up by pinning him to the other side of the other one, they've got a chance to both pick up position here. Right now, Carlson holding both of them off and unable to do anything with Wilkinson, who is trailing Corbett around, is picking him up, putting him down, and looking pretty good out front.
Yeah, for a moment there, almost like just like an old school train race, except we had five of them all chained together is what it looked like, with how close they all are running on track. As intersection going to become a factor here, is Jillian Lopato and the zero car going to be the first one they're looking at, as Jamie Corbett has a rear view mirror full of Doug Wilkinson. Wilkinson putting a ton of pressure on that 766 as he's got his mirror full of the 50 of John the Cowboy Carlson.
Yeah, good job so far by both of those drivers, not hiccuping. Corbett kept in the throttle there and ends up not getting into the back of the field, but he's going to have to start burping it a little bit or taking evasive action as he comes through. And if you start taking evasive action, you alter your lineup, you open the door up for a guy like Wilkinson, he's going to jump and take advantage of it. He's got to hope that really Lopato picks up the pace, or the back of the field picks up the pace at this point, because he doesn't want to be mired in the muck all race long.
Yeah, exactly. Like Jillian led off that time, and that's Nick Holton now. That's the car at the intersection that they're having to deal with. It looks like Chris Kurz is going to get around teammate Ryan Clark for that fourth spot in the top five, as now Nick Holton is going to pull off and allow the leaders to race on through. So lap cars doing a really good job of being aware of the situation around them and let the leaders battle this out, as we got a really good battle between everyone here in the top five. Same top five, a little bit different order now as Chris Kurz worked his way up to fourth, but John Carlson, he's there putting some pressure on Wilkinson, just not quite enough to get up there, and Wilkinson got a really good corner that time, gets a little bit of the back bumper of Corbett through 1 and 2 or 3 and 4 as they go around the North Pole, head down to the South Pole, and they're really clicking off laps here. I mean, already 12 down, 18 to go.
Yeah, this actually kind of favors Corbett. He's staying in pace. The car's sticking underneath him. Nice, long green flag run. He's in rhythm, and right now the intersection's not a problem for him. So as long as this stays the way it is, Corbett's in pretty good shape. Kind of fascinating to watch two of the more tenured drivers in Carlson and Curtis running for third and fourth and really just not able to make any progress on each other, much less Wilkinson in front of him.
Exactly, yeah, and Corbett, he was a graduate out of the Hornet class a few years ago, moved his way into Outlaws last year, and it's been fun to watch the progress of that 767 machine, as he's now probably having his best showing ever as he's led the first half of this one in that 767. Jamie Corbett just looking strong out front, able to hold off. The best in business is Ricky Dietz and Zach Larson entering the picture now. 7-car train for the race lead.
Well, one of those things that we talk about is the guys that you're teamed up with and work with. Corbett's working with Ricky Dietz, Vern Dietz, out of that Tire Pros of Arlington camp that they got going on, and it's certainly showing as they're sharing technology and sharing drivers' tips, and Jamie is putting in all the work here. Is now we're over halfway, so we're 16 in, 14 to go, and Corbett, his most impressive showing so far in the Frank's Radio Outlaw Figure Eights, he is picking them up, putting them down, and nobody can really do anything with him.
Yeah, I think he'd be closest to considered a rookie in this class so far, and he's so far doing a great job of leading Doug Wilkinson, John the Cowboy Carlson, Chris Curtis, who've been staples in figure eight racing here at Evergreen Speedway for quite some time now. And I mean, we saw Doug Wilkinson come so close to a win here in the Superstocks earlier today until he was given that black flag with 3 laps to go. So he's definitely hungry for some redemption here in the 55, as he does not want to come home second place or get shown the black flag again and fall back even more.
Interestingly enough, with all the rest of that pack kind of catching up right now, that freight train is making so there's no intersection for Corbett to deal with, and no intersection looming with the few cars that have dropped out as well. So right now it's all turning up roses, although he is starting to get a little more attention from Wilkinson. Also, Curtis snuck to the outside. He's got a run on Carlson. Carlson in danger of slipping back.
Exactly, yeah. It's almost like what you'd see at like Martinsville with the Cup Series, is that outside line. Once you get shuffled out of line, then you just start falling back and losing positions, and it could happen to either one of these drivers since it goes inside, outside, depending what end of the track you're on. So either one of these drivers at risk of losing more than just one spot, as Chris Curtis continuing to put that pressure on John the Cowboy Carlson. He got a really good run that time around the South Pole, and he's going to push the Cowboy up a little bit. We'll see if the 50 is going to give a little bit of a return favor, as up front Wilkinson's looking to the inside of Corbett as Corbett drifts up.
The first real danger for Corbett. Wilkinson with his first big opportunity, and Corbett managed to settle it back down and hang on to her. Down to 8 to go, but Wilkinson getting racier. You can see he's just inches off the rear bumper on Corbett. And now Curtis trying to sneak to the outside of Wilkinson. That's going to make things dicey for second.
Yeah, I think Curtis has the strongest car here in this big pack, but it's really hard to tell because Corbett's really holding up this entire line. I mean, you never really see Outlaw figure eights run nose to tail like this, but that's what happens when a little bit slower of a car holds up all the normal faster guys. But Corbett doing a great job holding his line and be able to keep everyone else at bay, as Chris Curtis at risk of losing that third spot to John the Cowboy Carlson once again, as Ryan Clark now looks to the inside.
Yeah, that's just the thing. You know, Curtis experimented stepping out of line with Wilkinson, but quickly pulled it back down in. Meanwhile, that line kind of breaking up, but if you pull out of line and you don't make it work, you're in danger of shuffling multiple spots.
Yeah, I think right there the 51 of Ryan Clark got shuffled out of line right there and possibly spun around when he was trying to make a move on John the Cowboy Carlson. But Chris Curtis now to the outside of Wilkinson is going to look to the outside of Jamie Corbett all the way through the South Pole. So huge run there for the 74 machine, as he's going to continue to battle hard with the 55 of Wilkinson. And Wilkinson's going to fall in line before he gets some pressure from the Cowboy John Carlson, as we just have 4 laps remaining now for Jamie Corbett, as he has heavy pressure from one of the fastest guys on track right now.
Corbett would have been well served if Wilkinson had fought him back a little bit longer there, but we're coming into 3 left. Corbett just got to keep it tight for a little bit longer. Ooh, little wiggle coming off the corner. You think that Curtis might have used some front bumper there. 3 more times around for Jamie, but the pressure is on. One of the best right in behind him, and Curtis making him earn it.
Exactly, yeah. And this is the one, like we mentioned, one of the few races all year where they've had a dry track to work with. And when it's wet, it's really hard to apply pressure because you can bump someone and spin them around really easy, and then you're showing the black flag. So a lot more cautious driving in the wet. But right here, all gloves are off as Chris Curtis looks to the outside once again at Jamie Corbett. Just cannot stick there to get to the inside going to the North Pole, as it's just one more time around for Jamie Corbett, knocking on the door of that first career win in the Outlaw figure eights.
Come on, Jamie, get this one done. One of the nicer guys in the pit area. Can he hold off Curtis? He's got him through the South Pole. One more pass to the intersection. No drama there into the North Pole, and he's gonna do it. Way to go, Jamie Corbett.
Leads the thing, green to checker. Jamie Corbett with his first career win, and he's going to burn it down right away. Wasted no time to get on that celebration. I think there's still some cars that got to come through the intersection. Yeah, there goes Julian Lepeto flying by him. As the celebration, definitely very excited Jamie Corbett underneath the hood of that 76.7.
Jamie, there's a tire shortage, buddy. Just saying, Jamie. Way to go, Jamie. He should be excited down at the podium. Let's get a chance to go talk with our winner and the entire top 3.
Heck of a race by you tonight. Just taking that lane, nobody else able to get around you. Maybe Chris had a couple opportunities on the outside, but you looked awful good on that low lane.
You know, I have a heck of a team. Paul Peterson's the crew chief of the year, dude. He helps you out so much. And tonight, my brother is whispering in my ear some secrets. And while I was out there driving, I just kept rolling that through my head. And so I want to give a big thanks to my main sponsor, A1 Auto Service Center, Ryan Berg. You're awesome, dude. I appreciate all your help. And Paul Peterson, Ricky Dietz, Zach Larson, the whole Gunderson crew, Augie, all these guys, Bobby Black, my buddy Mike Daher, Cole Raridan Racing, all these people help me be out here, and I love to see all you fans. Thank you.
Chris, that was a fun race, but same kind of question I asked Doug. 767 just so tight tonight and not able to get around him. Maybe a few nudges, but nothing else happening there.
Yeah, he's tough to get around, and he's a little squirrely, but he held his line and did a really good job. I tried a couple times to go around him on the outside, but just running out of time. I found partway through that race my car was really good on the outside, and started picking off cars one at a time, and all I could do is hope for a couple more laps.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Maybe a few more laps, you might have had the chance to take him.
Yeah, maybe a couple more laps. I got to say sorry to my teammate, Ryan. I got into him down here. I thought he knew I was there, and I couldn't back out fast enough to not get into him, and feel bad. I got into him, and I ended up getting by him. But, overall, really good racing out there tonight. I hope everybody enjoyed it. It's a great night.
Tell us about your sponsors real quick.
Yeah, we got Thermotech powder coating over here in Monroe. Awesome job for us all the time. Thank you very much. We got Bud Barton's Glass, always treating us well. We got Bulldog Haven Northwest, Miracles and Memories. Bud Ibach. I'm missing a couple, I'm sure, but I'm sorry. I really thank everybody for helping us out.
Pretty fun race, Doug, but just nothing anybody could do it looks like to get around the 767.
No, he was good, and he ran a good line, and he's family. Why would I move him?
It's a good point. A few nudges, but nothing to knock him off the track.
Nope, just get him to look in the mirror and wait for him to mess up, and he didn't. He did his job.
Tell us about who helps you out on a Saturday night.
Usually it's Bubba, my wife, and my kid, but this weekend Bubba's been out of town, so it was just us.
Any sponsors you need to thank?
Lots of them. So there's Tony V, who actually showed up to a race finally. Got you a trophy. There he is. And his wife at Tony V's Garage in Everett. And then we got Pilchuck Heating and Air Conditioning, Pacific Northwest Forerunner Connection. We have Conley Family Roadside Service, Two Girls and a Leaf, and just everyone for being here. We appreciate it.
Can I say something really quick? Bubba is the heart and soul of our race team. It is his 40th birthday. He's in Sweden with his family, and this one is for you, Bubba.
This episode of Home Track Heroes rapidly moving on, and we've got to quickly get into our Legend Car A main event. Let's read you your lineup for their 24-car field, 30-lap A main. Greg Scott on the pole in the Mazda of Everett 08. Cole Alton next to him in the straight alignment 09.
Then we got the 43 of Dylan Wolf on the inside row number 2. And his outside the 11M of Rick McNeil, sponsored by Optimus Construction.
Third row, Kent Collision Center 98, John Zaretsky in the Mazda of Everett number 11C of Chad Sinner.
Then we got the fourth row, last year's Rookie of the Year, 33, Kyle Lang, sponsored by J2 Racing Parts. His outside the 30, Mike Holden, sponsored by LB Motorsports.
The fifth row is the 69, the youngster Andrew Reel, and outside him the 10 of Chris Thompson in the LB Motorsports entry.
Then we got the 27 of Travis Bliven, and his outside the 30B of Braden Wager, sponsored by Dirt Cheap Sewer.
Row 7's the number 2 of Jeff Mueller, and the 18 of Gene Watson, sponsored by Premier Painting.
Then we got the 37 of Mason Nelson, sponsored by YN Brokers. His outside the 77 of Cole Slater, sponsored by Lordco Auto Parts.
17th starter, the Dirt Cheap Sewers, number 40 of Samantha Schwartz, and the 82 of Angel Cervantes.
Then we got the 66 of Matt Pioli, sponsored by Mazda of Everett. His outside the 3M of Keith Taylor.
32 of Brian Estrin in the LB Motorsports car. 22 Robert Zimmerman in the Tire Pros of Arlington Machine.
Rounding out the field, we got the 88 Nathan Adams, and his outside the 15D of Davis Jacobson, sponsored by Evergreen Concrete Cutting, as the green flag is out in the air with a huge field of legends barreling down into turn number 1.
They are absolutely moving. We had to rapidly get through that lineup, and
they're moving the wrong direction.
Yeah, that's one of our prohibitive favorites, in fact. Rick McNeil, who's been awfully quick in the 11, and then there is just a gaggle of legends all over the place.
I think that was Angel Cervantes that came in, just could not get the car woed up out of the way, and he made heavy contact with the left front of Rick McNeil. As we'll take a look at what started this all. I think it was Zaretsky in the 98 just made contact with McNeil, and that
chain reaction from
unfortunate.
there. And we call that new parts for everybody off of turn number 2.
Pioli and Zimmerman getting together at the very end. That was a light little kiss there. And I don't know if it's McNeil coming down or Zaretsky coming up. As we'll look back at the rest of the pack as they scatter. Some cars doing a great job of getting through, and some not getting so lucky.
Yeah, even if it is just a racing deal, you know what I mean? There's chaos happening. This is a huge field of legends starting this race. 24 cars on track for this 30-lapper. Here's a decent look at it out of the corner, and I think that's 2 cars in one spot at the same time as they go around. McNeil obviously gets the worst of it.
Yeah.
You can see body parts flying everywhere off into the green grass.
Yeah, Angel Cervantes was the one that came in right there, and yeah, it's hard to tell. I mean, I think Surretti coming up and McNeil just not giving any room, and yeah, that's Angel Cervantes getting the left front as we're going to go on board with Chad Center as he did a 360, I believe, after the contact between the two cars on the inside of him, and he tries to go out wide and just gets tapped and a little pirouette. I think he kept off the dirt, too.
That was a beautiful save. The Russian judge gives him a 9.7 on that.
Here we are with Gene Watson as this is just going to scatter cars in front of him, and he does a good job avoiding the 30 of Wagger and able to get through, and yeah, good job there from Gene, the rookie.
All right, so into the cockpit of
Mike Holden.
All right, Mike, feature winner here, Evergreen Speedway on the year, and that happens right in front of, right front to right rear.
I think that bash part probably took most of that impact, though, for him right there, as it was right on the right rear, like you mentioned, of Rick McNeil. So tough break there. As this segment is brought to you by Buzzin' Steakhouse. Buzzin' Steakhouse serves hand-cut Angus steaks, breakfast all day, and mouth-watering burgers. Visit one of their 12 locations. Buzzin' Steakhouse, sponsor of the Stingray class, and a few guys can head there early. Rick McNeil can head over to Buzzin' Steakhouse a little bit early and watch the end of this race, but unfortunate there.
He's going to need a bush beer.
Yep, for sure. Maybe head down to Turn 1 Club as we get ready for the restart. Heading to single file as time is becoming a factor here for the Legend cars, as that was a lengthy cleanup there, and we do have a curfew here at Evergreen Speedway as the green flag is back out in the air.
That's right. The idea is to get you home in time enough to watch the evening news. So we will continue and press on. You see Sinner getting racy and using the front bumper on the 11 car. Your race leader is Greg Scott out in front of the field. So Scott, your early race leader. Alton and Wolf, 2 and 3.
Yeah, cool. Alton doing a great job in that second spot to be able to hang on. So we can look at that huge field of Legends barreling down to turn number 1 still, as we got a lap complete finally. Got one down, 29 to go here for the Evergreen Legends. Chad Center able to work up to 3rd, and that's Mike holding that white car, trying to work his way around Kyle Lang and Dylan Wolf to work his way into the top 5. As Holden, like we mentioned before, several-time feature winner here. I think it's only been on the wet, though, for that 30 car, so he's probably very happy to see the dry conditions tonight.
Well, we've seen Mike Holden at Evergreen Speedway. Hey, it's reunion night. We can talk about things that happened in the past. Guy has won late model races here in the past, so the guy knows how to get around the racetrack, and now he has zipped up and into 4th and is going to start chasing down a podium finish. Sinner had worked his way into 3rd, and Sinner's chasing up 2nd. Greg Scott trying to get away.
Yeah, Chad Center on the hunt for another championship. He is a 3-time defending champion here in the Evergreen Legends, and he's the only person ever to win a championship here in the Legends. We've only been doing points for them for 3 years, so Chad Center, he's showing why he's a champion. He's able to continue on after that pirouette damage from the first lap 1 incident and battle hard inside the top 5 right now as Kyle Lang, Mike Holden starting to hunt him down.
All right, Holden closes the gap on Sinner here. Going to make things hard for the defending champ. Holden looks outside. He's going to carry outside through the middle of the racetrack. Let's see if he's got a run on him down the back straightaway. And we've got a near 5th place car. That's Kyle Lang getting involved in that battle.
Yeah,
so they're packed in 1 through 3 and caution out.
Yeah, it looks like this is 77 to Slater who's going around just as the lap car of Nathan Adams was getting put a lap down from your race leader. So that might actually saved Adams from going a complete lap down. As that is Slater who went off the track, and we're going to bring it up to the booth right here as get him re-racked, restacked. As so far, it's been a pretty good battle inside that top 5.
Well, big field of cars, good battle up in there, but you got to wonder if they know that we're up against curfew, and that's causing some of them to drive a little more aggressively, as we have seen a lot of bumpers, a lot of body panels kind of getting used up here in the early stages. As we come back with 21 laps to go, it's going to be Scott, Alton, and Sinner, 1, 2, and 3 packed in there.
Yeah, exactly. And then Kyle Lang sitting in that 4th spot, Mike Holden right there. And the young Andrew Reel, you mentioned at the top of the show, you said the young Andrew Reel. Just how young, you ask? 12 years old behind the wheel of that 69 Legend. And he's making it work. He's working his way forward. He's keeping calm. He's able to avoid any contact in that first accident. He's looking strong in that white car. Learning from Mike Holden now, who he follows. So, I mean, it's a good guy to follow and take some notes from.
Meanwhile, quite the discrepancy is Greg Scott, who is up in front of the field. Greg is 178 years old leading this main event at the moment, and looking good doing it. You look great for 178, Greg.
And Greg Scott, I mean, he's raced a lot of things here. I think mainly figure 8s has been where he is really well known, and it's cool seeing him here out here in the Legend class, leading some laps and able to hold some really strong cars at bay.
So down the front straightaway, you see Scott, Alton, Sinner. Lang's in there and Lang around.
I don't know if there was any contact or not, if he just got loose on entry. It looked like it's just that trouble spot in turn 1 where it kind of flattens out right before you hit the banking, and tough break there for Kyle Lang.
Well, almost looked like, self-inflicted as he got into the back of center and might have just got a little bit slideways in the process. Let's...
And like Samantha Schwartz also went around locking up the brakes, avoiding any contact though. And Kyle Lang, he was really close to that Uke tire if you watch it again.
Okay, so no contact with center on that second look. Either way, Lang's going to go to the back of the pack.
Yeah, tough break there for the young 33 Kyle Lang as he was working his way forward, doing what he had to do, and I think driving too hard, and these cars are really tough to drive, so it really just takes that one little flaw or that one little hiccup, and then you're going around facing the wrong direction.
Well, you factor that in with, again, that little bit of extra aggressive, knowing that there's a time limit here on this race, and it makes a ton of sense. Meanwhile, Sinner, nice restart, all for naught as there's a car around, and everybody avoids the 37 of Mason Nelson somehow. I don't see blinky lights, though.
Yeah, I think we're going to stay green. Looked like he might have been able to get fired back up. We're barreling down turn number 1. Yep, 37, he's gone. So good job there by Mason Nelson to get it refired, and we stay green. And I think Chad Sinner is very thankful for that as he get a good run to the outside of Scott right here.
Yeah, it isn't all for naught. Here comes Sinner making his bid for the lead. Scott trying to hold him off as they're 2x2 for a couple of rows deep there. Is that Real getting involved in your top 3? It sure is.
Yeah, and I think Sinner got really, really loose that time. He's almost drifting through those corners. That car looks really loose in the middle, but he still has speed, so maybe the higher line is where he wants to be. He's going to duck back down underneath in front of Cole Alton, as he got really loose that last time off turn number 4. Is Alton and Real going to get together right in front of Mike Holden now?
Man, I know they're small little race cars, but the gap between Real and the wall is like nothing on the front straightaway. That's how high he's having to pedal this car around the raceway. It's a pretty famous last name in the Pacific Northwest.
Cole Alton
we'll talk
going
about
around.
that again. Oops. Yeah, problems, Alton.
Well, Real made it through. Everyone else did not.
Holden
that is Holden going around. Yeah, that's Holden that was going in reverse. So I think that's the 43 of Wolf also involved. I think the 10 of Thompson is stopped up there. 27 of Bliven, as just I think maybe one too many bumps from Holden or something, as some body parts going flying off of Wolf, and Zaretsky taking evasive action. Gene Watson doing a phenomenal job getting through, as cars continue to scatter every direction right here as we go on board with Mike Holton right here.
All right, so we'll get the actual idea, and into the corner, and boy, dark in that corner against a dark race car. You can see maybe something up with the lighting. I don't know what's going on, but darker than usual. Hard to see. Maybe he just didn't know the car was there.
Yeah, well, it looked like he got loose on entry, or he may hit one of these bumps, because these Legends with the smaller tires, those bumps are extra big. As we see Gene Watson just ducking, diving. It's almost like a slalom course for him as he was able to work his way through. But I think on Mike Holden, you saw him have to make that big correction on the wheel, and I think that's when he got into the back bumper of Cole Alton, is when he was trying to make that correction. I think either going over one of those turtles down inside of turns 3 and 4, or just overcorrecting, getting loose in the corner. So tough break there for a couple drivers inside the top 5.
All right, back to green flag action. Scott and Sinner will resume their battle with Real now, sitting in position number 3, and Kyle Lang has come like a freight train through this field, back up into 4th and looking for a chance to pick up a podium finish of his own. Heck, I'm sure Lang's not done thinking about trying to win this race at this point.
Yeah, he's going to look to the inside of Sinner there. Sinner going to pinch him way down, but leaves enough room between him and that Uke tire for Kyle Lang to have a lane, and he's going to take that 33 car past the 11C of Chad Sinner going into turns 3 and 4, and Andrew Real, the 12-year-old, putting some pressure on Greg Scott. And like you mentioned, we don't necessarily need to say what the exact age gap is between those two, but it's a big number.
Well, Real's got the lineage to do it, too. If I remember the story correctly, that should be Brandon Real's nephew in the car. So we remember Brandon. Brandon's won everything there is in the Pacific Northwest and more. It is Andrew Real taking on Greg Scott here up in front of the field. Kyle Lang and Chad Sinner are not done.
Exactly, yeah. And I mean, these are your top 2 in points from last year between Lang and Sinner. Lang, your rookie of the year, finished 2nd in points behind Chad Sinner, who has his 3rd championship, like I mentioned. And then we got the 12-year-old Andrew Real, the 14-year-old Kyle Lang, and then we got Greg Scott and Chad Sinner. So it's definitely a war of the veterans versus the young guns, and they are putting on a great show here with 9 laps to go.
Lang clears Sinner and gets underneath Real. It's Lang coming up on Scott now, as it's going to be Scott, the KG veteran, and the second-year driver in Lang, and Lang's got to look to the inside going into turn number 1, side by side into the first corner.
Yeah, it looks like Scott got a little bit loose that time off of turn number 4, and that allowed Kyle Lang to get to the inside, and he's carrying that momentum in the preferred line, going down into 3 and 4, and the yellow lights come on. Tough break there for Kyle Lang. It looked like he might have been the first person to be able to get a run on Scott all race long.
Wow, he had that run into 3 as Pioli is around in the 66. That stinks for Kyle as we're going to get a look at the replay. Cool inside cam look.
Going around by himself, and Davidson just barely squeaking by, and a good look there at the rear end of Pioli's car as he parked it right next to our camera down there.
Dangerous place for that camera, but hey, it works.
It survived for now as we have an 8-lap shootout. Actually, it's going to be a 3-lap shootout announced by the NASCAR officials here as the time limit is getting close, as Kyle Lang putting all sorts of pressure on the back of Pioli as he had a huge run right before the caution came out. We'll see if the 33 can recreate some of that magic as he is all over the back bumper of Greg Scott.
Just a little taparoo getting through the back straightaway and on to the front stretch. 2 to go. Scott trying to hold off Lang. Lang looking for the magic. Just got to find it one more time to make the run on Scott. And you can see Scott playing some pretty serious defense there on the bottom of 2.
Yeah, Lang got a huge run that time off the bottom of 1 and 2. This time he's looking there. He's got to run again. He's to the inside of Scott. Scott's going to block, and they're going to make contact. And that's a huge hit there for Kyle Lang. Red flag out immediately, coming to the white flag, and that is just utter chaos. Hoping all drivers are all right involved as John Pearson's going to hop out of the flag stand. We see Chad Sinner moving around. We see some movement from Kyle Lang, as that is a tough hit there for Kyle Lang. Chad's there checking in on him. You see some movement there. A little thumbs up from Kyle Lang as we'll dive into the replay, as that is a dramatic way to end the Legend main event.
Okay, so I'm curious. I want to see how this went down as those two cars coming through the corner battling for the lead, and there's going to be an interesting decision, I guess, to be made as, oh, God, yeah, Lang got it twice from both Real and Sinner coming in behind him. Okay, so take another look. You're coming off the corner.
I'm not sure if Greg Scott is running a spotter or not. Spotters aren't required in this class, and I mean, an older driver like Greg Scott might prefer not to have someone in his ear and right into your living room there. That is a tough hit. As, yeah, I mean, Lang was all the way almost to his door. As you saw, they touched tires there. Here with Mike Holden, you see they make contact really far off the racing line, and Holden's able to get it woed up, avoid Real, avoid Zaretsky, and keep things from getting worse, as that was a tough hit for quite a few drivers here. We're going to go on board Chad Sinner. This is going to be tight, folks.
Okay, so taking a look at it, just a little obscured by the Real car. Oh, what a collision. That's brutal.
So the NASCAR officials, they're saying since we can't continue this race due to the time limit, they're going to go back to the last completed lap, which would give the win to Greg Scott in the 08. Then Kyle Lang would be second, and Andrew Real, the 12-year-old, will be third. So we'll take a look at this just one more time as coming down the front straightaway. And it's just so tough, but let's go talk to these drivers. They're all out of the cars, all right.
Greg, out in the lead for pretty much this whole entire race in the 08 car. How did that car feel to you tonight?
Not very good. We fought tight all day, and then I just kind of over-adjusted it, and it was really loose, and just trying to hang on, and hate to see it finish that way. Kyle's a good kid, good racer, and I feel bad about it, but, you know, it's part of racing, unfortunately.
Tell us about the sponsors you have, Greg, for that 08.
I'd like to thank Mazda of Everett. Matt and the guys down there are awesome. Kent Collision Center, Dirt Cheap, Sewer, and a bunch of great people. Anybody needs a Mazda, go to Mazda Everett and see Matt.
Kyle, great battle back and forth. I want to focus on the cautions that we had out there. A lot of cautions. You were really, really strong throughout this race. Maybe some of those cautions hurt you as you started to make some really good runs to the high side and the low side.
Yeah, I guess. I don't really know.
Good job, Kyle.
definitely some frustration, obviously, at that last lap. Just tell us about your sponsors. Let's talk about them. Who helped you get out here on a Saturday?
J2 Racing, Michael Fritz, my mom and dad, Kent Collision Center, and that's it.
All right, Andrew, first off, tell this crowd, how old are you?
12.
12 years old. How about a round of applause for Andrew Reel? Pretty impressive. Pretty huge pack out there and finished strong in that 69 car. Too bad we couldn't finish under the curfew, but had to feel pretty good coming up on the podium tonight.
Felt good. I mean, it was a pretty good race, I guess, except from the end. Everybody kind of wrecked. But yeah, it was a good race overall, so I got third.
You did indeed. Tell us about the sponsors that help you out, Andrew.
Sharps Transportation, Ricky Arnold, my dad, Dan Wheels Trucking, Dan Excavate, and my dad's friends and everybody that helped and family and stuff.
Wow. Just wow. What a dramatic way to end a huge and exciting action-packed show here on CW11.
I would hope that at this point in time, you guys have been watching enough episodes of Hometown Heroes with us, and you're educated race fans. We try to teach you a little something new every time that you come in here, and if you're not coming out to the Speedway itself and watching what happens, but you can watch what happened at the end of that race and make your own judgment call. We won't try to influence your decision one way or the other. It was definitely fascinating. There was a lot of chaos that happened, an interesting way to end the episode, that's for sure.
Exactly. I mean, glad to see all drivers all right, because that was a tough hit Kyle took, and I mean, just to see him get out of that car by himself was really good news. I mean, that is definitely one of the tougher hits we've seen in a legend car all year.
It must be nice to be 15 and made of rubber still at this point in time. I'll bet you didn't even have a headache the next morning.
Yeah, no kidding.
Either way, a lot of velocity, and the best thing that you can say on that one again is that all drivers walked away under their own power. At the end of the day, these are competition machines that we like to see out there, going out there, entertaining us here on Home Track Heroes, entertaining you, the fans that are coming out and being with us at Evergreen Speedway on our Saturday night racing programs. At the same time, they are the last line of defense between these drivers and injury, and the most important thing, no matter how many pieces and parts and components of these cars that are torn up, is that the driver's okay. You can replace a race car, you cannot replace a human being.
Exactly, and you mentioned, I mean, the people that watch at home on Home Track Heroes, next week you'll be able to watch the Granite Super Sprint cars back in action, but if you want to come out in person, next thing you'll be able to see 5/8 action, the Pro Late models take on the big track.
It is one of the tentpole races that we have here at Evergreen Speedway. It is the Galloway coming up. The Pro Lates have been gunning towards the 5/8 since they saw it on the calendar and on the schedule coming out this year. It's going to be a great time. That is coming up Saturday, June 25th. We hope you guys will join us in the grandstands for that. It's going to be a great night of racing.
Yeah, not to mention street stocks, mini stocks, vintage modifieds, and legends all on the 3/8 mile. So it's a action-packed day of racing. You're definitely going to want to come out and check it out here at Evergreen Speedway. And then the week after that, we got July 2nd we're racing. That's Saturday. And then we got a big 4th of July show, fireworks and Carnage Fest. Mr. Dizzy making his return to Evergreen Speedway. So if you're going to want to come out, spend your 4th of July with us here at Evergreen Speedway. Thank you so much for tuning in here on CW11. My name is Kyler Hope. That was Caleb Hart, and we will see you guys next time right here on CW11 Home Track Heroes.
Thanks for watching Evergreen Speedway's Home Track Heroes on CW11. Join us next week for more great racing from Evergreen Speedway.